Hello, gamers. Get ready, the beat's about to drop. We got the calm music, and then... I don't actually know what color I should make the chat box. You thinking purple, maybe? I think that might fit. Test message. Will that... I need to see how it'll look in comparison to the background. Oh, that's still kind of hard to read. I don't know what a good color for this key art is. Maybe I just chose bad key art. Like, maybe that's the problem. Color. Test again. Yeah, I think white works. I think white works. White works fine enough. There we go. Okay. All right. Should I put Darius at the bottom right? In protest of how fucking exorbitantly expensive Path of Radiance is on the NSO? Which is definitely what I'm playing it on, because that's, you know... any other way of getting it would be morally wrong or something? I don't fucking know. Sure. Chat, should we go random or fixed growths? I feel like random growths is more fun, right? Random growth is always more fun. That's my... I don't even think that's a hot take. That's just the take I have. I'm not going to talk during the cutscenes. You get to hear the wonderful, beautiful voice acting of fucking Path of Radiance.
Well, Ike, you had enough? Oh, missed.
Ike? Oh no!
Da 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 da.
Missed that song.
Ah, you're up. About time.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The voice acting is just, it's certainly 2000 and what is this? 2006. It's certainly 2006 dubs. That's what it is. Are you all right? Yeah, I'll be fine. So, the sleeping prince awakens. Father! I can't believe you. Yeah, I know those aren't practice swords, but they're still heavy. You have no right to be so rough on Ike. If this is too much for the boy, he'll never make it as a mercenary. But, Mist, you don't have to worry. I told you, I'm fine. Ha! You better be. Now grab your sword and get ready. What? Don't tell me you're going at it again, but... just until I land a single blow. I'm not giving up until I can get a good hit on a father. I like your resolve, Ike. But it takes more than a strong will to... Aha! I knew I'd find you here! Hi, Boyd. What brings you here? Nothing special. You said you were going to get the boss, but you never came back. So I got picked to check on you. Oh! Sorry. I got caught up with Ike and my father. It's nothing. Besides, I figured I'd get a good laugh watching Ike get worked over by the boss. You look fine. What happened? Nothing at all. I'm sorry to disappoint you. You just missed it! Just a minute ago, he was out cold. Missed? Sorry. You came at just the right time, Boyd. You can be Ike's sparring partner. What? Me? I'm beginning to think it would be better if you sparred with someone closer to his own skill. I understand. Thanks for your help, Boyd. I don't know about closer to his own skill business, but I'm ready. All right, I'm ready for you. Let's go. So first things first, we have to do our options. I'm turning animations off because holy shit, Path of Radiance animations are so slow. Wasn't this 2005? Oh, was it 2005? I was close. I was just guessing. I got close. Combat camera, game speed fast, message speed max, grid thickness. I like a nice thick grid. I like a nice thick grid. C-stick normal, screen, keep it the way it is. Auto cursor off, auto end turns on. We could do unit facing, the funniest setting to ever happen. I think we do unit facing on. If only to show y'all how stupid and funny, this setting is. Message sounds on, music, sound effects, rumble, BXP display on. I think this is what we want. Unit window, combat window. Yeah, for some reason you can turn like the combat windows and stuff off. I don't know why. It's weird. But, yeah, this is Path of Radiance. Definitely playing on the quote-unquote NSO. Definitely not using Nintendo PC. I would never do that. That's stealing money from Shigeru Miyamoto. I just thought this would be a nice, fun, chill little series. I'm not gonna be doing anything like super hardcore. I do want to make sure to use all three of the brothers for the triangle attack because I need triangle attack footage from them. But otherwise, just sort of thought it'd be fun to play one of the easiest Fire Emblem games just for the umpteenth time. And do it chill. It's so satisfying to discover auto cursor off. I know, right? Auto cursor sucks ass. It can be useful sometimes, but I think it's fine as it is. Before we dive into unit reviews, because I am going to be doing unit reviews, we'll probably make a compilation or whatever. I pinned a chat message about it, but in case anyone isn't aware, in the spirit of the Grail Mercenaries, I am also, my services are for hire, which means you can pay to force deploy, because Path of Radiance is easy game, right? Like, I don't care if you force me to use, like, under-leveled Rolf or whatever, or under-leveled Mia. You can pay to force deploy units, And you can pay to turn animations on and off because animations are notoriously terrible in Path of Radiance. But everything is only for the current or next chapter, just to give people a chance if somebody, like, tunes in for the third stream and they're like, I wanted to force Mia, but somebody already paid for everyone. So yeah, with all that being said, Ike unit review. So, Ike is our sort of classic Fire Emblem Sword Lord. I'm unprepared. I didn't pull up the growth rates in the other window. I should probably do that. POR Ike. And while we're at it, we'll pull up POR Boyd, POR Oscar, POR Titania, POR Riss, POR Gatri, POR Shannon, POR Soren, POR Mia. And that's the entire, like, prologue crew taken care of. I consider chapters 1 through 7 to kind of be a prologue. And I don't think we'll be getting any farther than that tonight. Wouldn't the majority of characters qualify as closer to Ike's skill than Grail? Yeah, probably. Well, not like Mist and Rolf and people, right? But... Alright. Now that I've got all these pulled up, I'm gonna start the unit review thing from the top so that it looks better in the compilation. So, if you were here on the stream, you know I fucked up, but... Otherwise, no one will ever know. Let me just get a drink of ginger ale so that I don't cough during it, because I've been coffee tonight. There we go. Okay. All right. So, our first unit review would be Ike, the main character of this game. Very popular main character. I think in large part due to Smash Brothers. His Radiant Dawn appearance was in Smash Bros. Because Path of Radiance and its sequel Radiant Dawn didn't actually sell all that well, either internationally or in Japan. But he was put in Super Smash Bros. Brawl because it was on the Wii when Radiant Dawn came out, so sort of got to be popular because of that. Things like Great Ether! I fight for my friends. The shit that's like not actually in Path of Radiance. And then people have a lot of nostalgia for the Game Boy Advance era and the GameCube and Wii portions of Fire Emblem sort of at the tail end of that. They use a lot of the same ideas. Whereas once we hit the DS and 3DS, it departed from that a lot. So I think a lot of people look back fondly on Path of Radiance who might not have necessarily played it in its heyday. And for that reason, Ike ends up being popular. He's also just like one of the few lords that is not literally a lord, like he's not royalty. And so yeah, being different is cool. And he's a self-insert. Like if we're being for real, you don't get to name him the way you do Alear or whatever, but in a lot of ways, Ike serves the function in the story that I think is important for fantasy stories of being the character who kind of serves as the audience insert in that we see things through his point of view. He has to get a lot of things explained to him that are being explained for the audience's benefit, like how Lagoos work, the different countries and stuff. And so a lot of people will, relate to him and as a result really like him. The reason I bring up how much people like Ike as a character is because I think it leads to him being massively overglazed when it comes to his gameplay performance. Because Path of Radiance is an exceptionally easy game, even by Fire Emblem standards. It's definitely top 3 easiest, like alongside Birthright and Sacred Stones. You could argue it's the easiest. I think Birthright's a little bit easier, but, it just comes down to, like, personal preference or whatever. And because it's on the easier end of the spectrum, you can, without much resistance, even on hard mode, just power your way to the end credits using whatever units you like, right? If you're a big fan of, like, Rolf, Zahark, Makalov, whatever random bench warmers, right? You can just have an entire team of low tiers, and the game will not put up that much resistance. And as such, people will have Ike be sort of their main carry. You know, I like him because his personality's great. So I'm going to give him, you know, the early Seraph Robe. I'm going to give him the early bonus experience. I'm going to give him a Forge or whatever. Or I'm just going to feed him a bunch of kills, right? And because of that, he snowballs and he becomes the carry because whoever you feed the most kills to ends up getting the most experience. Pretty simple formula there. And then they come away from the game like, yeah, Ike's like, you know, top 3 units in the game. Just awesome. Phenomenal. And I think that it's perfectly fine to play the game with your favorites, but I think if we're talking about, if we're ranking the cast against each other, you have to look at the attributes they bring to the table or what they don't bring to the table. And Ike, unfortunately, is lacking in a lot of things. His base stats actually leave a bit to be desired, despite being level 1. These aren't like the worst level 1 stats, but his HP, his starting HP of 19, is pretty sad. He's got a good HP growth, 75%, but each singular point of HP is actually not all that impactful in the grand scheme of things. If you want Ike to be able to stand up to punishment, you probably want to give him the first Angel Robe, and there's quite a few characters that appreciate that first Angel Robe. So already, even as early as Chapter 1, Ike is like, please give me investment. His growths are fine. He's Mr. 1540, as someone in chat said. 50%, I'll pull up, I'll just list all of his growths right now. 75% HP, 50% strength, 20% magic, 50% skill, 55% speed, which is his highest outside of HP, 35% luck, 40% defense, 40% res. So he is sort of lives and dies by the coin flip. Not the worst place to be, but definitely not the best, especially considering his base stats aren't great. Like 5 defense, 5 strength, 7 speed's good. Like he'll double stuff in the prologue, but he doesn't one round while doubling, and he doesn't stand up to a ton, or not prologue, chapter 1, but he doesn't like one round while doubling, and he doesn't stand up to a ton of punishment. With 19 HP and 5 defense, like, that's Hector's HP problems without Hector's massive defense. So if Ike is facing a lot of people on enemy phase, which you want most of your Path of Radiance units to, like, do a lot of enemy phase combat just because this game is forced to deploy Ike. Thank you, Cynthia, for the $10 donation. I guess I'm stuck with him. I guess I'm stuck with forced deployed Ike. Thank you. I appreciate that. Where was I? Train of thought. ADHD. Right. So in Path of Radiance, most maps have large enemy quantity, but low enemy quality. So you want to be facing a ton of people on enemy phase, and either chipping them or ideally killing them. In Ike's case, because of his low bulk, he struggles to do that. There's just not that much of a market for ultimately a player-phase chip bot, which is the greatest heights that I can sort of like aspire to from a combat perspective. So that's already not great. He does have a couple of other disadvantages, like even outside of just the raw combat stats though. He's stuck on swords, which are the second worst weapon type, or at least of the physical weapon types. You could argue tomes are worse, it's weird. But swords aren't great. Like, stuck at 1 range, again, you want to be fighting a bunch of people on enemy phase in Path of Radiance, and Path of Radiance, more so than basically any other Fire Emblem game, really incentivizes 1-2 range. Maybe Birthright is on the same level, but so many random enemies in Path of Radiance will have javelins and hand axes, or even like, just this unit has both a sword and a bow, because paladins can have 2 weapon types. Or enemy tome users have 1-2 range, so frequently, if you're stuck using just like an iron sword, a steel sword, or whatever, enemies will attack you uncountered. And, I mean, in Ike's case, he's not necessarily bulky enough to take a bunch of hits, but even in the case of like more bulky sword-locked units or 1-range locked units or whatever, not countering foes is still, you're not helping the situation, you're not being productive. Because not dying is not actually that impressive when from Path of Radiance's standards. So it just becomes difficult. I'd argue bows are worse than swords. Yeah, that's why I said that swords are the second worst physical weapon type. Bows are the worst one. Pretty definitively. I guess the other thing about swords is they're lower might as compared to lances and axes, which is pretty unfortunate. I think that is oftentimes a little bit overstated, to be honest. With the forging system, you can basically fix might problems. And swords, on the other hand, have higher hit than axes and lances, which is also not a big deal. Like, again, with the forge system, you can fix the hit problems that axe users will have. So the low might of swords and the low hit of axes is not actually super impactful. I would say the bigger thing is just specifically being one range locked is very unfortunate. Being footlocked is also pretty unfortunate. Maps in Path of Radiance tend to be very big, and Cavalry gets access to Canto, which allows them to move after any action. So if you've got a 9-move cavalry unit, right? They move 4 spaces and then attack. They can then move 5 spaces afterwards. And so that helps to do either hit and run tactics to like advance retreat or advance and move forward. Now infantry is not like, it's not the end of the world of your infantry. They get access to shove, which is useful for like moving people around to objectives. Ike's weight is not great at 9, but he can shove like Riss and Soren, a lot of the magic users, and shoving magic users is nice because they can use the rescue staff. So that's like an advantage that the infantry has over cavalry. And the other thing is that infantry are the only units that can be rescued. You can't rescue mounted units in Path of Radiance. So rescue dropping is a very powerful tool. And so being able to like take advantage of that to sort of keep your infantry where you want them is nice. I would still argue that being an infantry is a pretty major downside. It's a downside you can work around by having people shove forward or by having people rescue them around or whatever, but you're committing unit actions to fixing that problem. And so, that is a cost, having to spend, we have both Astrid and Makalov carrying Ike around just so he can stay on the front lines. Well, that's something that's a cost. You could have been spending those deployment slots on units who would do actual combat, right? So that's unfortunate. Ike also gets a story fixed promotion, which is still a downside. It's definitely not as much of a downside as like Roy and Elliewood and Hector and people who get Erica and Ephraim. People promote like near the end of their games. But it is pretty unfortunate. It comes at the end of chapter 17, and I tend to find that most of your main squad promotes around chapter 15, 16, 17. So the fact that Ike is forced to promote at the end of 17 means he's going to be lagging behind everyone else a little bit. It's not a ton, but it's enough that you aren't really incentivized to feed him a bunch of early game experience because there's a ceiling. With other units, say you've decided you want Oscar or Boyd or Soren to be your carry. You can feed them a ton of kills during the early game or feed them a ton of bonus experience. And then have them promote early. It's very trivial to have a unit promote. Like if you've decided I want to do a Super Soren playthrough. Soren promotes by chapter 8, by chapter 9 at the latest, right? If you want to do like Super Oscar, Oscar promotes at chapter 9 or whatever. Now that is a ton of favoritism to give those units, and in most cases I would say it's not worth it to do that. But the fact that Ike lacks that option is unfortunate, and the fact that he's gonna be promoting later than the rest of your team, I think is also a downside. So all of those combined are, I think, things that really hold him back, and his stats are just not good enough to make up for it. He does have a couple of advantages. Ike has unique access to the best occult skill in the game, which is Ether. You could argue Soul is better. I got a couple of comments on my skill tier list pointing out Soul works at 2 range, but Ether does not work at 2 range. I can see the argument there, but Ether, I think, is just so... It's 2 attacks, one of them is Soul, one of them is Luna. So you're killing whatever you proc, and you're recovering HP. That's just such a huge thing. especially if you find those situations to do big enemy phases with them, which again is hard, one range locked, but it's not impossible. It's just, it's hard, right? He does also get Ragnell at the end of the game. Ragnell is not only the only way to beat the final boss, but also just a really strong weapon. It basically makes the last 2 chapters free. It boosts Ike's bulk, gives him 3 defense and res, and it's infinite durability, 1-2 range sword with really high might. I think it's like 12 might, 13 might, something stupid like that. So it, even on Maniac mode, the way that I clear the last couple of maps on Maniac mode is just undeploy everyone but Ike and Nasir, and then just go to town with Ragnell. It's kind of incredible just how much of a glow up Ragnell is. Ragnell. And I think because it's 18 might, holy fucking shit, it's 18 might! 18 might! It also gives you the Hoplong artifact. It's 5 defense, damn. It's 3 in both as Amity. Yeah, it's 5 defense. My bad. I was mistaking it for the other super good sword. Amity's great, right? Amity's really powerful. Smiley face. Amity doesn't suck. Amity doesn't have like 2 might or something stupid. But yeah, 18 might, 1-2 range. It also, this doesn't come up that often because Ike's gonna have decent luck anyway, but it negates critical hits. You can't get crit with the Ragnell. Like, it's just a Hoplong guard too, which is awesome. And it gives him a very good last impression, which I think is another part of the sort of like the Ike glazing, is like he ends the game really strong, and so you're left with a really good last impression. But it's easy to just, you gotta remember there's more than 2 chapters in the game. Like, I'm sorry, the other, what is it, 30 chapters? How many chapters are in Path of Radiance? It's like 29? I don't know. The other chapters matter too, right? If I got Ragnell when he promoted, I think he would be at the very least like 2 or 3 tiers higher than I currently have him. But yeah, that's really all. I guess we should talk about Earth Affinity right now, because if I don't mention Earth Affinity, the Glazers will, I mean, by saying that it's not the greatest thing in the world, the Glazers are already gonna lose their minds. But Earth is Ike's affinity, and people lose their minds over that, because it gives full avoid, which is 5 avoid, by the way. Supports in Path of Radiance are, by and large, very unimpactful. So, Earth gives 5 avoid. Even the, like, really good ones, stuff like Heaven or Fire or whatever, you just ignore. Like, there's just, it's really not that important. But I would say Earth is one of the lower tier of the supports, to be honest. 5 avoid, like, it is really hard to overstate how much of a nothing burger 5 avoid is. I know dodge tanking is a thing that gives the neuron activation to some people, but 5 avoid, first off, it's just not getting you anywhere in terms of dodge tanking. Like, I'm sorry, if you were going to, if you dodged an attack with a C support from Earth, you were probably going to do it without that 5 avoid. At A rank, it's 15, which is near the end of the game for most supports. What is it? Titania, that's 26 chapters together. Soren, that's 19 chapters together. Leif, that's 14 together. Rayson, that's 11 together. Even Ranulph and Alencia, like, where it's 3 chapters and 2 chapters together, they join near the end of the game. You get the full, super awesome 15 avoid near the very end of the game. Fans will notice I've skipped someone. Don't worry, we'll get to that one. Not only that, but yeah, there's not even a lot of terrain to stack avoid in your favor. If you had multiple sources of avoid boosting, then like sure, maybe the extra 5 to 15 from Earth Affinity would matter sometimes, but you don't. But also you don't need it. Enemies in Path of Radiance have really bad accuracy, which you would think would make avoid boosting affinities actually better, because you'd be like, okay, well, if they're already inaccurate, let's give a little bit more, and then you end up like just dodging everything, right? You're already dodging almost everything, and your trained combat units are going to take, what,
7, 8, 9 attacks landing on them before they're even in danger of dying. My friend Jacob, shout out to Casual Jacob. If you have not already, subscribe to Casual Jacob. But my friend Jacob did the math on just looking at paladins and swordmasters. Because paladins tend to be like the most popular units, swordmasters are the fastest, therefore most avoid. Before factoring in anything like terrain, supports, or whatever, paladins are going to, towards the mid and end game, get around 24 to 27 speed, which is 50 avoid before considering enemy luck. Swordmasters have 27 to 30, which is even more. If you already have 50 avoid and the enemies are pulling like 80, 90 hit before factoring in your avoid, and then you knock them down to 30% into RN, and you need to get hit by 9 or 10 of them to be in any danger of dying, I'm sorry, but like, you're already immortal. You're already immortal at that point. The extra 5 avoid, 10 avoid at B, 15 avoid at A is just, it's not pushing you over a meaningful threshold. Especially when you consider that you've got other tools like triangle and whatnot to take advantage of to get a little bit of extra. Like, it's just not doing anything for you. Now, the big one people will pop off about is Oscar and Ike, because those are, I believe it's the only support in the game where both characters have Earth. I don't think Tanith can support anyone with Earth Affinity. I'm actually gonna double check that right now. POR Tanith. I know they're each other's only Earth supports. Oh, Tanith Oscar. Yeah, Tanith Oscar. Okay, well, I mean, that one's better, because they're both at the same movement speed. The big problems I have with Oscar Ike, I mean, I've got multiple, but the biggest ones are Oscar and Ike have different movements. I think it generally, if you want to try to squeeze value out of the low impact bonuses you get in Path of Radiance, you want it on units that have similar movement values, right? Oscar Kieran, Ike Soren, you know, Laith and another cavalry. Something like that, right? Oscar Tanith. Oscar Tanith have similar movement values. Although I would argue Tanith Marsh is better because they're both flyers, and so they're like able to hang out in the same areas as each other. In order for Oscar and Ike to get their support bonuses, they need to be within 3 tiles of each other. Which means you have to now commit units to ferrying Ike around to keep him near Oscar. It also means Ike is on the front lines, which is often not a place you want him. As I mentioned, he's kind of squishy. Even after he ends up growing, he still is not the bulkiest boy in the world. Like, it's good enough, especially if you got the double Earth, which is a total of 30 at A. And the fastest that you can get, it's the fastest you can get A support is, so it's 11 maps together, but Oscar misses 2 maps. So what is it, chapter 13? Chapter 14, because it's at the end of the maps. Yeah, so chapter 14 is the fastest you can get the A support between them. And that's if they're deployed. Well, I guess Ike's always deployed. If Oscar's deployed on every map he's able to, you'll get it by chapter 14. Which is about halfway through the game. That's honestly not terrible by Path of Radiance standards. That's probably the first A support you're going to get. I can't think of any others that come sooner than that. And so, like, in theory, yeah, let's get that extra 30 avoid. Sure, it'll make them dodgy. 1, I'd argue it's still overkill. 2, if enemies are, like, even if you ferry Ike around, if enemies are choosing between Oscar, who likely has 1-2 range, either a javelin or a hand axe, and therefore can counter them, or Ike, who doesn't, and therefore cannot, they'll attack Ike, and, like, I don't care if Ike dodges. He's not making progress. He's not attacking people. You don't want him baiting people. Enemies are not threatening in Path of Radiance. Like, oh boy, I dodged an attack that would have dealt 4 damage to me, and then I didn't counter and kill him, so now I have to deal with this guy on player phase. It's counterproductive. I'd much rather just get the 15 avoid from Oscar Kieran, as opposed to the 30 from Ike Oscar, and then just like have Oscar and Kieran hang out near each other because they're both calves. Or if you really want the 30 avoid, like wait for Tanith. Tanith's fucking phenomenal. Do Oscar Tanith, and then like they can get the 30 avoid, and you can convince yourself that, like, no, I swear, if I hadn't dodged all those 3 damage attacks, I would have been dead. In general, it's not even just an Earth support thing. Like, all of the supports in Path of Radiance are just so low impact. Theoretically, Heaven could be good. Like, it's 5 hit per level, which you could use to push, like, Boyd or someone up to a 100% accuracy, which is a pretty big swing, right? Changing from 80% accurate or 85% accurate to 100 is nice. But in practice, even that doesn't matter because just forge hit on a weapon. You get so much money. And there's no supports that give crit avoid. I saw someone in chat say stacking attack and defense is good, and I would agree if it, again, weren't for the fact that Path of Radiance, all of them round down. So all the attack and defense ones give 0.5, which means on their own, they actually give nothing at C rank. Which is so stupid. You have to, like, if you want water, which gives attack and defense, if you want it to actually matter, you have to pair it with someone that is giving either defense or attack on their own. So, like, water fire gives 1 attack, but no defense at C. The rounding down is so obnoxious. It's like, why did they do it like that? I hate the gameplay impact of supports in Path of Radiance. But on the other end of things, the fact that they don't, like, help you at all means you can just pair up who you want from a story perspective. And honestly, I think that's probably better. Cause, like, I don't know, like, the gameplay in Path of Radiance, I don't think is actually particularly good. I'm just gonna shove him. Whoa, come on! What's that all about? You're wasting our time! I love shoving Boyd. Hey, what's the holdup? Let's get started already! I'm coming. Wait right there. You can do it! Boyd's got nothing! Take him out! Nothing? I don't have nothing. I mean... They eliminated crit and crit avoid. Yeah, crit avoid was always the best one. Well, not always, but, like, usually the best one because it's a stat that matters in low numbers. Because, like, let's be honest, avoid and even hit a lot of the times doesn't matter in low numbers. Like, I just spent, what, like 20 minutes talking about how 5 avoid just, like, doesn't really matter in most situations. It's either, like, your avoid is high enough that it doesn't make a difference and you're dodging anyway, or your avoid is low enough that the 5 avoid isn't pushing you over the threshold. For crit, it does. If the enemy has 5 crit on you and you get 5 crit avoid, well, now there's no chance of a crit, and, like, that's huge. So the elimination of crit avoid is so sad, but that wasn't too bad. Boyd, you're such a loser. Shut your trap! Good work, Boyd. That's enough. Oh, alright. Your swordsmanship was decent enough, Ike. Don't forget how it felt. It won't always be this easy. I know. Now that you're done warming up, it's time for you to face me again. I was hoping you'd say that. But first, Mist. Right here! Now we have to fight Mist. Here you go, Ike. It's a vulnerary. I'd recommend using it now, before you fight Father. Last time he knocked you silly. Always take the time to heal your wounds at a battle, even small ones. By the time you think you're in trouble, it's probably too late. Don't get into that situation. Mist hits Ike with the staff. It's a crit, deals 3 damage. Aw, I can't shove Grail. Get ready, Ike. Here I come. Give it your all. Come on, boy. You need me a challenge this time around? right, I have to point this out. I spread some misinformation in my skills tier list. I said discipline was unused and it was only on Grail in like cutscenes, but that's not true. It's here on him as well. I just didn't realize that. He still has 11 attack compared to Ike's 5 defense. So him dealing 6 makes sense here. So I guess it's just a flavor skill. Ugh. All right, time for Ike's first free level up. Wow, this run is fucking cursed. Magic instead of strength. Ike, you were great. Father, you were holding back, weren't you? What? Is that true? You could tell the difference. That means you're improving. You know, I wasn't really giving it my all either. That's such a lie. Bah! So, Father, does this mean you finally admit that I'm ready? What, to join the company? To take on a job? Yeah, I mean, Boyd's already out there on the battlefield. I'm ready. I'm tired of being a trainee. Listen, the difference between you and me is I'm a professional. A professional who just got beat. That was by random chance. Random chance. You've got a point, Ike. All right. Tomorrow will be your first day as a fully fledged mercenary. Really? But if I think it's too much, then you're back to trainee status. You better work hard. No problem. Watch, I'll catch up to everyone in no time. We'll see. We better be heading back to the fort. Everybody's waiting. And I think I'm going to make save states for each chapter as well. Chapter 1. FE9. Because I think I just want to have those for, like, footage access or whatever. Brom Gaming. I mean... There is a, I don't know if you were here for this, but there is a donation incentive if you want to force deploy someone. So who gets chosen isn't really up to me, it's up to y'all. The 4 swords glitch. Boyd has 3 AS due to the iron axe. Good morning, Ike. Today's your first day as a professional soldier, isn't it? Yeah, and I'm ready to go. What you are is late. The others were suited up and ready at the break of dawn. Sorry, I'll get up earlier from now on. So, what's my first job? I'm talking with Titania right now. Wait outside until we're done. Yes, sir. Very well. Commander Grail, shall we continue? You were telling me about some bandits that needed taken care of, weren't you? Correct. The request comes from a nearby village. According to our reports, the bandits are not all that strong. I think it best if I ride out and take a look. I plan on taking Oscar and Boyd along with me. Just the brothers? Go ahead and add Ike to your team. Shannon, Godfrey, and I can handle the other 2 jobs easily enough. Titania, I'm leaving Ike in your care. I'm trusting you to show him the ropes. Understood, Commander. Come on, Ike. Let's get you set up. All right, my first job! Captain Titania, preparations are complete, and I'm ready to go. Impeccable timing. It's nice to know we can always count on you to be at the ready, Oscar. Don't forget about me. I'm ready for action. Is that so, Boyd? That's a surprise. Ha! Not today, it isn't. As of today, I'm going to be the absolute model of perfection. I need to set a good example for Ike. I'll take your word for it. Your first campaign at last. I know you've waited for this a while. Are you nervous, Ike? I think I was more nervous last night. I could hardly sleep. This morning, I'm feeling pretty good. It's the calm before the storm. You should try to relax. You're not going to be out there alone.
Yeah, you're right. All right, right. Everyone ready? Let's go. All this shade on Boyd, and he doesn't even have the skill. It's Tempest on Boyd. Ileana's the one with shade. This is the village of Chaldea. The bandits are few, but we mustn't get careless. Our goal is to take out the bandit leader in front of the large building, and then secure that building. Ike, listen up. All this stuff is old news to me, but I can give a rookie like you a few tips. First off, don't let yourself get worked up and jump out in front of everyone. You'll just end up getting hurt. Don't try to do too much, Ike. When things get dangerous, you can and should rely on us. As long as you watch how the enemy moves carefully, you'll be fine. Think of this as a training mission. I'll do that. Oscar, Boyd, thanks for your help. Don't mention it. Just sit back and watch how a professional handles things. Enough chit-chat, you three. We've got work to do. Remember to deploy Ike. Alright, I'm deploying Ike, who's force deployed for this chapter. Also Iron Sword glitch Lamau. What's funny is the Iron Sword glitch, like, it actually gets in the way of your inventory because you don't have a convoy until now. You don't have a convoy until chapter 8, so you end up, like, having to throw stuff away by accident. Hot take. I like that. Oh, I'll let the voice to text hold it out.
Here we go.
Hot take, I like the Tilius animations and all their jank.
Thank you, Cleric Mental, for the $5 Norn. We got Paladin Norn, Jagan Norn. So we have animations on for this map. Losing 2 speed from the Iron Sword. Yeah, I forgot to mention that your strength is what off-puts weight instead of your con or your weight or whatever. So the weapon weight of 7, it means that he loses 2 AS from the Iron Sword. It's really not a big deal because after like 4 chapters, no one loses AS from anything. The DK rap is the start of donations. Yeah, I think it's the greatest sound effect ever. But yeah, Oscar loses 2 AS from the Iron Lance. Titania doesn't lose anything. Nope, sorry, she loses 3 AS from the Steel Axe. The thing is that eventually units will get, like, yeah, 3 AS from the Iron Axe. The thing is that eventually units will get, like, enough strength that it doesn't matter anyway. So, I think for the most part, it really doesn't matter. I guess it kind of impacts Boyd, because Boyd is struggling with his speed to start out. Does losing 2 speed even matter until chapter 4? I think it's the reason Boyd can't double these guys, right? Because they've got 0 AS. These guys have 0 AS, but Boyd cannot double them because his speed is 6, but since it's -3, it's actually 3, which puts him exactly 1 shy of doubling, right? But for the most part, it is like, it's mostly just a reason to point and laugh. Because, like, look, Ike is still doubling. I think Oscar still doubles too, right? It's, like, literally just Boyd, and literally just till he gets his first point of strength or speed. If only we had rallies. Yeah, if only we had rallies. I guess on that topic, on the topic of getting weighed down by weapons, we should talk about Boyd, since he's the only one who cares. As I said, Boyd is, unfortunately, since the way that the weigh down works, he is unfortunately just shy of doubling 0 AS enemies. He can't double anyone until he gets 1 point of strength or speed. And so having a bit of a speed hole to climb out of is annoying. I think it is sometimes overstated, but it's also, like, the Boyd fans will sometimes understate it. Will sometimes be like, it doesn't actually matter. You're exaggerating how bad it is. Like, if Boyd misses a speed or strength level up, it's, like, tragic. And if he misses 2 in a row, it's over. Like, it's just over. And that's really unfortunate, because I think Boyd has the makings of a very strong infantry unit. You'll notice he has like good strength to start out, very good HP, 30 HP. His defense is 5, so it's tied with Ike, and he's got an even worse defense growth. I guess I should read his growths. 75% HP, 60% strength, 5% magic, doesn't matter. 50% skill, 45% speed, 35% luck, 25% defense, 25% res. Really high strength growth. He uses axes, which are the best physical weapon, probably the best weapon in Talius. And just like decent base stats alongside the sort of Captain Coin Flip growths, with the exception of like strength being notably above. Like 60% I think is good enough to not necessarily be Captain Coin Flip. The only unfortunate thing is that like he really needs to hit strength and speed as often as possible. For the first few maps. Like, once you get into sort of the early mid-game, stuff like, once once Grail dies, right? If Boyd has hit all of his strength and speed at an appropriate time during, like, the prologue, he's probably fine, he's probably set. But in those early chapters, it can sort of work as a reverse snowball, where like you miss your first strength level up, you miss your first speed level up, and then it becomes harder to double, and so you gain less experience because you get less kills, and so you gain less level ups, and then it's even harder to double, so you gain less experience, less skills, and it can be like a big problem. Strength is pretty much his speed, so missing both is really bad. Yeah, you can work around missing one, which is usually going to be the speed. Missing both in a single level up is like really tragic, and missing speed too many times or missing both too many times is like, it's Jover. Like, it just becomes too Jover for him. But as long as that doesn't happen, like, he'll end up being solid. He's still in infantry, so he's still got that sort of low move, no canto problem, but he uses axes. Axes are a good weapon type. He's got a good stat spread. His low defense can sometimes be annoying, although it's offset a little bit by his high HP. He ends up with sort of like the Largo stat spread, which I think is actually pretty bad. Like, I don't like Largo's stat spread. So maybe that's a reason to ditch him at the end of the game, but as long as he's leveling well, like, he'll probably be fine. And he's got nearly perfect availability. Like, he misses some of the prologue chapters. Boo-hoo. He starts with Tempest, which is part of his other issue, and that is his tragically low skill base. 50% growth is nice, but 4 skill base is bad. It's bad. And Iron Axe has 75 hit. This means he has 79 hit before factoring in Biorhythm. I did a whole video on Biorhythm and how it ends up hurting Boyd more than it helps him. But you'll notice here, right? Like, he's got 82 hit. These are enemies with no avoid, I'm pretty sure, right? 0 avoid. 5 avoid. Like, this is just not... this is not good for him. How many foot units can you afford in Path of Radiance late game? I mean, you get a lot of deployment slots. I think you can afford, I mean, as many as you want. It's an easy game, but... yeah. I haven't mentioned Boyd's promotion to Warrior. It's mostly just stat gains, but he does get bows, and that does let him participate in a triangle attack, which is an automatic hit, automatic crit, alongside Oscar and Rolf. Both Oscar and Rolf need to be promoted, and you have to do a base combo, so they have to promote before, like, chapter 19, I think? I think the base combo isn't... you get... there's one combo in 13 that doesn't actually do anything, but you have to do the 13 combo to get... I think it's the 19 one. It might be chapter 18, but I'm like 90% sure it's chapter 19. And Oscar needs to get bows. Boyd, Oscar, and Rolf can then do a triangle attack from 2 range. I think it's the only 2 range triangle attack in the series, because for the most part, they don't go off if they're at 2 range, like with javelins or whatever. So that's pretty cool. It's not necessary. Like,
I guess that fixes Boyd's accuracy. It's overkill even for Maniac mode, yeah. But it's funny. I guess what you could do is give Gamble to one of the brothers, and then triangle attack with Gamble, since it's guaranteed to hit anyway, but then you're guaranteed to crit anyway, so you can pretend that the Gamble helped you, but actually you were guaranteed to crit anyway. But yeah, it's, you know, he's fine. Like, I think Boyd is one of the better projects for the early game. If you want to raise an early game unit, you can do a lot worse than Boyd. I would argue the only combat unit who's better than Boyd to raise in the early game is his brother, Oscar. And this gets down to Path of Radiance units are so boring to evaluate because it's best to use 3. I don't think it's best to use just 3, but I do think Path of Radiance unit strength is often very boring to evaluate because there's that sort of, there's the stereotype of like, elitists say all cavalry is good, all infantry is bad. And I think some people do look at every Fire Emblem game like that, right? And I would say that's an incorrect assessment. And I would even say in Path of Radiance, that's an incorrect assessment. But Path of Radiance is the game where that is the closest to just the truth. Where if you want to look at like a tier list, if you just sorted by mounted versus not mounted, you would be pretty close to what I think is like the Path of Radiance tier list, right? And I mean, that's the reason why Oscar's the best early game trainer, is he's mounted. His stats are a little bit worse than Boyd. His growths are about on the same level. He's got worse strength and HP growths, but everything else is like about the same. 55% HP, 45% strength, 20% magic, which doesn't matter. 50% skill, 45% speed, 30% luck, 35% defense, and 30% res. I guess I should clarify, the magic doesn't literally not matter. There's the Flame Lance and the Bolt Axe for Boyd. But like, it doesn't. Like, you don't care about physical units magic stats in this game. Yeah, Oscar is just gonna be generically good cav. Upon promotion, paladins can choose a second weapon type. Oscar starts with lances, which are the second best weapon in the game. If you want to go like quote-unquote optimal, you always give axes to your paladins, but like, you can't go wrong. No matter what weapon you give them, they'll be fine. Mounted unit with well-rounded stats in a game with weak enemies, like, it's a very straightforward, formula for success, right? Doesn't not deploying units give more bonus experience? Only on 3 maps, all of which are defend maps, and it's like 20 extra experience per empty deployment slot. It's not fucking worth it. Like, I'm sorry, low manning chapter 8 is unhelpful. You can meme and say like, I'm undeploying Mia because the bonus experience you get for not deploying her is better than anything she does. But that's, let's be honest, just a way to make fun of Mia. But yeah, it's only the defend maps. So, Chapter 8, Chapter 14, which is the one where you defend Sanaki's boat, and... Are those the only defend maps? Because the survive map in the forest doesn't count. That doesn't give any bonus experience for low manning. I think it's just those 2 maps. Yeah, it's literally just those 2 maps. And the reason is because normally it's turn count that determines BXP, but defend maps have a fixed turn count. So they instead made it undeploying. But in all other chapters, undeploying does not give you any extra BXP. It's only the defend maps, and only those 2, because in the first defend map, you're forced to deploy everyone in the Grail one. But yeah. Oscar's bow is fine. Trading axe ring takes forever. He can shoot down flyers. He'll do more damage to flyers with axes than bows, and I'm not joking. 2 times effective damage is a scourge upon the earth. I also don't think you need to train axe rank, like Forged Hand Axe. Like, you just do Forged Hand Axe. You can give Oscar whatever weapon you want, like, to the point of he'll be fine with whatever. But axes are just the best. Like, if you're looking for the best one, it's axes. If you're looking for the most fun one, follow your heart. Whatever your heart says, right? And then bows are for the triangle attack, which we will be giving him bows in this run, because as I mentioned, I need footage of the triangle attack. So, you know, and it's fun. Like, I think the triangle attack is fun. I fucking love triangle attacks, and Rolf is like my favorite unit in the game. So, the triangle attack, right? Like, it's awesome. But like, if you're trying to just optimize, give access to everyone, and then be boring, like 5 Axe Paladins, Jill, Marsha, Tanith, the most boring playthrough on Earth, but like, it is technically the best thing you can do. Anyway, Oscar's good. The question of Oscar is, how much do we train him in the early game versus rushing to beat maps with Titania to get the most BXP? And in my opinion, the answer is you can do both. You have time to do both. You don't have time to baby him and get him to like level 12 by the end of the first 7 chapters. But like, you can get Oscar a decent number of levels. You can also do that to Boyd. You can also do that to Ike. And still hit all of your BXP caps. So like, some people, and I've made this argument in the past myself, like I say some people, I'm guilty, past Danny. The argument of like, well, training Oscar, you don't actually train him, so he's under-leveled. I think that's a misnomer. I think that Oscar will be fine. I think Oscar will be on a fine level. But yeah, Oscar's good. As I mentioned with Ike, I don't find the Earth Affinity to be, the fucking quote-unquote game-breaking, busted thing that people seem to think it is. I forgot Chapter 5 is a defend map. Yeah, but you're forced to deploy everyone. You cannot undeploy characters in Chapter 5. Like, you literally can't. The game doesn't let you. But yeah, Cavalry good. Who'd have fucking guessed? And like, if Cavalry's good, if Cavalry's good, Paladin better. Meet Titania. Meet Titania. This is Path of Radiance's Jagen. She's one of the strongest Jagans in the franchise. She's the one that, she alongside Seth were the 1-2 punch that managed to convince people, actually, maybe these pre-promotes are good. And yet I still get comments about how she's an EXP thief. So these stats are pretty good, pretty ridiculous for her join time. Her growth rates are also, like, good. 80% HP, 45% strength, 25% magic, 60% skill, 50% speed, 45% luck, 40% defense, 45% res. These are all better than Oscar's, with the exception of strength, which they are tied at. The biggest thing that sort of like stops Titania is the EXP curve is not super kind to her. She, unlike Seth, does actually have to suffer from pre-promoted EXP. For anyone who doesn't know, Seth can actually cheat pre-promote EXP because the first 8 chapters of Sacred Stones, the boss kills, just give a fixed experience. So Seth doesn't actually have to get pre-promote experience. He just kills bosses and gets regular experience. Titania doesn't get that privilege. She's still very, very good. I think that Titania is close to the sort of ideal for a Jagen, in that she starts out dominant, and over the course of the game, others will catch up to and surpass her. I find that by the late game, Titania is the worst unit you are willing to deploy. She's better than everyone you've benched, but she's probably weaker than everyone else you've got alive. And I think that's the perfect place for a Jagen to end, because if you want to, you can just bench her in the mid game, train someone else up, and they'll probably be better than her. But it's more effort and probably not worth it. I think she's fine. I think she's fine in the late game. I think the people who say like she's still the best unit in your army in the late game, I don't understand that take, because like everyone surpasses her, right? But she's also not like unusably bad or anything. And she very much goes against the EXP, like she beats the EXP thief allegations, because the way this game's bonus experience works is on almost every map, with the exception of the defend maps, you get bonus experience based on meeting certain turn count thresholds. And Titania is going to be the easiest way to get to those turn count thresholds. And so what you do is you spend the turns training up your projects, having them do sort of side objectives, self-improvement training. And meanwhile, have Titania and maybe one other unit charge the objective. Then Titania clears the map, gets a ton of bonus experience, and you feed that bonus experience to whoever your Blorbo was. And now suddenly your Blorbo's actually gotten more experience total than they would have if you dragged out the map babying them. Because they've gotten experience doing side objectives, and then they get bonus experience from Titania doing the main objective. And the bonus experience you get from those turn counts is almost always going to be more than the pittance you would have gotten from having your, special Blorbo do their little project. 21 strength on average at 20 pro mode is very meh. Yeah, but it's still enough. I think it's still enough, right? Like, so I've done so many runs of Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. Path of Radiance was my first Fire Emblem game. One of my proudest achievements is using transfers. I have transferred the entire support library from Path of Radiance to Radiant Dawn. And for anyone who doesn't know, the way you do that is by beating the game with every support unlocked. And you can only unlock 5 supports for each character per file. Which means you have to do playthroughs for, to do every single pairing, right? So I've transferred the whole support library. I've also brought every character in Radiant Dawn to the tower on hard mode, without Laguz Royals. I grew up drinking Tellius like a fucking smoothie. Yeah. Tellius was my childhood. And I've fallen off on Path of Radiance specifically now. I still love Radiant Dawn. Game's goated, even though it sucks. The game's goated, even though it sucks. But Path of Radiance, I've got a lot of nostalgia for. It is unfortunately, I'm less tolerant of its flaws now than I was as a kid, but I've still got nostalgia for it, right? You brought Lyra to the tower? Hell yeah, I brought Lyra and Meg in the same run. That was awesome. They're not even the hardest ones. I will say, and she's not the worst unit in the game, but she was the most annoying unit to bring to the tower. Vika. Vika was the most annoying unit to bring to the tower. Not the worst unit in Radiant Dawn. Just because I like what she does in part 1. But she was by far the most obnoxious unit to bring into the tower. Because at least Tormod, you can train up and then have him do, Meteor Chip or, Heal Staff shit or whatever. Vika, literally, what are you supposed to do? You forgot the most important aspect of Titania counter? Yeah, no, you're right. She has counter, so that when enemies deal 2 damage to her, sometimes she will reflect 2 damage to them. Oh, whoops, hold on. I'll restart the chapter. I forgot I was reading the dialogue. I autopiloted. I forgot for the chill playthrough, we're reading dialogue as well. I'll do this. Holy stance moment. Meg isn't even the worst Dawn Brigade bring the tower looking at Fiona. Yeah, but Fiona, okay, so I'll say this, right? If your only goal is to bring Fiona to the tower, I'm not even gonna fucking lie. I did the petrify trick. For anyone who isn't aware, and this is not something that should be accounted for in unit evaluations, but I did the thing where you use Nyla, you petrify a priest. The priest can't move, but because the priest has heal staff equipped, I have to turn the animations on. Someone paid for that. They heal every single turn. And so, I just trained Fiona until she one-shot the priest. So she was like level 10 promoted at the end of fucking endgame. One endgame.
You're with the mercenaries, right? Thank you for coming. We've heard a lot about you. Here, take this weapon. We're farmers, not fighters. Maybe you'll get some use out of it.
Also, I realized I meant to send Titania to that house. I got distracted. Fiona and Meg are better than Lyre. Kai'Sa and Astrid hold ledges and rescue in the Dawn Brigade maps. The Radiant Dawn tier list. My goal is for the Radiant Dawn tier list to come out sometime in Q2 this year. In fucking business terms. Basically, by the end of the first half of this year, I want my Radiant Dawn tier list out. Currently, Part 1 and Part 2 are available for members and patrons. And I'm partway through recording Part 3. I've recorded Ike and Titania. I haven't recorded Soren yet. Soren's next up. Honestly, playing the game normally without the Stone Trek is faster and easier. I mean, I would argue yes, but my goal was not to play the game, like just beat the game. I was bringing Fiona to the tower. The opportunities to train Fiona are not only limited, but also annoying. Oh my god, unit facing is the greatest feature ever. What's going on out there? Is this some kind of army? Ugh, bunch of mercenaries looking for their next meal. The village just must have hired them. Listen up, lads. Heard them and knew them bad. And if we let this bunch live, we'll have hordes of hired swords hounding us for the rest of our days.
It's those fool villagers. They think they can buy a bunch of sellswords to chase us away. It ain't gonna work out how they wanted. All they get for their trouble is a bunch of ruined houses. Tear them down, boys. That'll teach them. Boom.
You don't do the Secret Fiona paralogue where you grind her? No, I forgot to. The Boyd accuracy counter! Boyd miss. BXP lost? No? No? I'll pull up the charts so that y'all will actually know. FE9 BXP chart. In chapter 1, you get max BXP for clearing within 4 turns, so that's our goal. Should I go on a rant about Radiant Dawn Jill? How she needs HP Robe to do anything. Her fan says it's true. I mean, I think she really desperately wants the HP Robe, but I don't think she needs it. I don't think any unit needs anything. I think honestly, I think the old, you know, mecha-brained take about, like, give Jill all of the stat boosters in the game. She deserves them, and she's the only one who needs them, right? I honestly think that's done so much to harm Jill's reputation, because it is the dumbest fucking take. And it's also just not true. Like, I would argue that both halves of the statement, the idea that she is the only one that needs them, or the fact that she needs them and also that she's the only one that wants them are both untrue. Almost anyone needs it, it gives a better enemy phase. I think Zehark is a better user of the angel robes than Jill is. Okay, as much as I joked about the bad Ike level in the first chapter, or in the prologue, he's actually leveling good. He got speed the first one, strength the second one. So he's like on par. I hate to give all the boosts idea because no shit that makes them good. Yeah, well, and it leads to the very obvious, like, now if you say, like, Jill is good, you have to fucking, I hate having to justify that, like, no, I'm not saying Jill is good because you give her all the boosters. Like, this is a unit who does need investment, whether that comes in the form of BXP or stat boosters or just feeding her kills and giving her a training arc. I don't think anyone is denying that this is a growths unit. But I also think, like, there's a payoff, and the payoff isn't just I gave her every single stat booster in the game. Isn't it easiest? Just give the flying unit with no weaknesses everything in the Dawn Brigade, where most units are mid at best. I don't think giving Jill literally all of your resources is the easiest way to beat the game. Not on hard mode, at least. I would argue, if there's a unit you want to give all of the resources that the Dawn Brigade has access to, it's Zehark, not Jill. Because he's the pre-promote who already has really good bases. And with Paragon, he can become tier 3 by part 3. But I also don't think you should just give literally all of your resources to Zehark. Like, I think distributing them between, like, Zehark, Jill, and Nolan is probably the best way to do things. So you have 3 strong units instead of 1 Juggernaut. Since those bandits took over, we can't even sleep at night. Please, help us save our village. Here, my mother left me this. I hope it serves you well. Maybe ease off of Leonardo. You looking for something, fool? You looking for a fight? You came to the right place. I'll give you a tussle. I'm meant for better than this. I don't want to die here. Maybe I'm a little speedrun pilled. I don't recall if anyone ever did a hard speedrun. I mean, it also depends on how much you're willing to rig. I know in LTCs, typically the LTC strategy is give all of your resources. My work here is done. This house is totaled. Now it's time to move on to bigger things. Now smash me some mercenaries. Attack, 5 defense, right? 6 defense, yeah. Alright, you go here. Kill this guy. Oh, Robin J4Y, thank you for the follow. People are using good units, but I always turn Soren into a hard carry with atrocious favoritism. In this game or Radiant Dawn, I don't know which I don't know which game we're talking about right now anymore. We seem to be just on the continent, but not sure what game we're at. Also, I'm -1. You can start spamming BXP lost now because it's turn 4, and that's the cap. I think it's fine. We can afford to lose, what is it, 5 BXP, 10 BXP? Yeah, we're losing 10 BXP, but the combination of Oscar and Ike are going to gain more than 10 experience to get. Like, Ike just gained 10 off of this, right? Which is sort of a demonstration of why, like, going strictly by max BXP, unless that's the challenge run you're going for, is not, like, super necessary, right? Soren in both games is mediocre, but far from the worst unit in the game. I would, again, say he's not the worst unit in the game in either, but I think he's bad in both of them. I don't think mediocre sells enough just how bad he is. He's pretty bad. That's the end of it. Ike, are you alright? Yeah, I'll be fine. You know, you surprised me. To think you've come so far. Look at my father, though. I've still got such a long way to go. There's nothing you can do about that. After all, Commander Grail is... Huh? What about my father? Oh, nothing. Nothing? Now I'm really curious. Don't worry. You'll learn all about it someday. Hey, Ike! That wasn't bad for your first battle. Not as flashy as my first time, though. Yeah, you were a real standout. I'll never forget the sight of you so keyed up you broke your own axe. Oscar, dang it! You didn't have to bring that up. Anyway, Ike, congrats on finishing your first mission. Welcome to the group. Everyone's alright? Then let's get going. I'm sure Mist has a nice hot meal waiting for us. That 10 lost BXP. And now time to make my save state on my definitely NSO, definitely legal NSO. Chapter 2, FE9. Oh, Titania. So this is where you've been, is it? Riss, are you sure you're well enough to be up? Yes, my fever's completely gone. Are you sure? You still look a bit unsteady on your feet if you ask me. Well, I've been in bed for almost a week. I doubt that anyone would be in top form, even you, my friend. I certainly hope that's all it is. In any case, you're back at full speed. You won't be doing any work. We're mercenaries after all, and even the smallest lasp invites death, right? I know. My apologies to the rest of the team, then. Looks like I'll be recuperating for a little while. It's for the best. Take your time, and get fully rested and restored. You are our sole staff wielder, Riss. The harder you work, the harder our work, the more we depend on you to be at our sides. Thank you for your kind words. Oh, by the way, that paper you've been carrying around, is it a letter? I intended to go to town this afternoon. I can deliver it for you if you like. Oh, no, this letter is for you, Titania. For me? Not more than a little while ago, I went out for a walk around the yard and man I've never seen before came up to camp and said, "Give this to the red-tressed knight." How curious. I wonder what it is. I imagine it's a thank you letter from the people of Chaldea or something to that effect. Oh no! How dare they? Titania? What's the matter? What did the letter say? Riss? Take this letter to Oscar and tell him to prepare for combat and wait for me. I have to go out for a moment. But, Titania? I'll be right back. I'm counting on you. What on earth could that letter have said? Yo, Earth? 5 avoid? 5 avoid? Holy shit. What on 5 avoid could that letter have said?
Everyone, come quickly. Hey, Riss! So, how you feeling? What is it? Why are you so agitated? Has something happened? It's Mist and Rolf. They've been taken by bandits. What? What are you talking about? 2 of them went out earlier this morning to gather wildflowers. Sure, they're not back yet, but earlier, by the gate, a man asked me to deliver this letter to Titania from a group of bandits. Kidnappers. What are we gonna do? Let me see it. Oh, if only I'd known. He didn't seem like a bad person. I get it. They're after revenge. They want retribution for the other day at that village. Kalea, was it? Taking children as hostages? What cowards. Blast. Wait, Ike! Where do you think you're going? I'm going to get Mist. But no! Titania! She said she'd be right back. You're supposed to get ready and wait for her. And do you honestly think we've got time to wait? I'm going. Where do you think you're going to go on your own, rookie? Hold it! I'm going too! Stop! Both of you! I'll go with you! Oh, come on! Wait! This is crazy! Do you think it just avoid the deputy commander's orders? The road forks here. Which way do we go? How am I supposed to know that? Hold it! Are you saying you don't know where you're going? Unbelievable! You better learn to think before you act, you moron! Shut your mouth, Boyd. You think you can make me? Come on! Both of you, this is not the time to be fighting! I figured we'd find you like this. What are you two doing? So you're coming after all? It's not like you 2 chambermaids to be disobeying orders. What's the world coming to? Oscar, you know this road, don't you? Which way do we go? You're going to the bandit stronghold, right? It's the left fork. Got it. I'm still talking here. Let me finish what I... Come on, Oscar. Let's go too. I guess we've no choice. Hey! You're not leaving me behind!
So you came, did you, boys? Is it just you then? You came alone? I seriously underestimate what we're capable of doing to you. Now where's that snobby red-headed wench you ride with?
Titania's not here. It's just us. All I want to know right now is whether Mist and Rolf are safe.
Yeah, of course. But I'm locked up safe and sound with that little shat back there. We got no problems with those brats. What we're after is a little revenge. We want the red-headed pups. Not you boys.
Then hurry up and let those 2 go. We're here, aren't we? You got no more reason to hold them.
You're here, but ready. Keep them brats till she arrives.
Dang it!
If you're so impatient, I guess we can start by killing you whelps. You ready to die here? Hey, come out! It's time to play, lads!
But there's so many of them. But we must not lose. Riss, move to the rear. If anyone gets injured, we'll need you on hand with your staff. Understood.
Take 'em, lads. Without the red-haired knight, they're no match for us.
What'd you say, dirtbag?
We'll make you regret those words.
So first off, animation's off. Ianku acts like Titania. Once she comes, won't just kill him without breaking a sweat. Yeah, does he also get one-rounded? He might just get one-rounded by her. I genuinely don't know. I don't think so. He's got, what, 31 HP, 6 defense? Probably not. Well, with the steel axe she does, but with the iron, probably not. Alright. Still no doubling! Boyd, my slow king!
He's still not doing much to Titania. Oh yeah, his revenge is a fool's errand. What difficulty is this? This is hard. Just doing a chill stream. Didn't really feel like busting out the maniac mode. I don't know why. I don't know why I've played so much maniac mode. It is a curse and a mystery. But just chilling. Boyd is your slow king. That means he has good res. I guess he's my slow bro. I guess he would appreciate being a bro more. Does slow bro have good special defense? I don't know enough about Pokemon. 7 and 7 is 14. Because they have the same, right? 14 attack, 13 attack. Slowbro has good special defense. Damn. Keep your chin up, Rolf. Boys aren't supposed to cry. Do we cancel Mist on Twitter for upholding problematic gender views? But I'm scared. Aren't you even a little bit scared, Mist? Of course I am, but listen, we'll be fine. My brother will definitely come and rescue us. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm sure my brothers will be right by with him. I'm sure they will too. So no more crying, got it? If I had stats like Rolf, I'd cry too. Oh, we forgot to do the Riss unit review. Did you know Pokemon like Mega Mewtwo, Mega Rayquaza, Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre, and Arceus are strong stat-wise? Yo, no way! Is Maniac just enemy density hard or real difficulty? I mean, you do have to adopt different tactics. It's a combination of enemy stats are up, enemy density is increased, and this is the, like, part where it's just super obnoxious. Status stabs and siege tomes are fucking everywhere. Which is just awful. I should do the unit review before I forget. So Riss, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that quote-unquote right. I got a comment from someone that said they know people in real life with this name, and they pronounce it Reese. I have a cousin with a name spelled this way, R-H-Y-S, and he pronounced it Riss, which is why I call it Riss, right? Like, I just go off of, I just thought that was how people pronounce it. So maybe different people pronounce it different. I don't know what the intended one is. But regardless, Riss is your first staffer, one of very few staffers. The only native staffers are Mist, Riss, and Elincia. Although you can also promote Soren, Ileana, and Tormod to get staff rank. So in that respect, he's got a very rare niche. You're probably always going to want one staffer. I think in general, staffing in Path of Radiance is pretty weak. Your units tend to be pretty tanky, even without staff healing. And there's not that many useful utility stabs. Restore is good on some maps where there's enemies with status stabs. And Rescue is good if you're trying to do, like, rescue strats. But there's no Warp. Barrier is nice, but you don't really need it. Like, mages are kind of pushovers anyway. So there's not that many stabs that you get that are, like, super useful. And status stabs, the hit rates are just not great, and it's easier to just kill enemies than status them. But you probably want at least one, because you get a lot of stealable physics. You probably want to, like, heal people. Restore people is really nice.
It saves turns for your combat units. Yeah, if someone needs healing, it's better to have a staffer than a vulnerator. I just think most of the time, your units don't actually need healing, or don't need that much, which is why they're sort of diminishing returns, but you probably want one. And the two primary ones, Mist and Riss, offer different benefits. Riss starts with, like, really good stats. Like, as a level 4 priest, 10 base magic is kind of ridiculous, and he got a 60% magic growth. Riss has the highest average magic of any unit in the game, because he's tied with Soren for the highest magic growth, and he's just got a better base. Now, obviously, being on staff experience means, like, he's gonna grow slower, but you can just give him bonus experience in order to make up for that. And the nice thing is, because Riss's primary role is a staffer, you don't need to early promote him. Like, you don't need to immediately... For other units that want a lot of BXP, they usually want it as soon as you get them, right? If you want to give a lot of BXP to, like, Marcia, Oscar, Soren, Boyd, you do it, like, in the first chapter you can. For Riss, he doesn't really need a ton of BXP until you want to get his physic range high, or his rescue range high, or whatever, right? So he can afford to just not get the early BXP and still eventually get a bunch in the mid game and, like, take advantage of those growths. You could also Master Seal him. I don't think you need to, because, like, the only benefits to promoting him are, I guess, an extra point of move and light magic access, but Riss's combat is gonna be abysmal. Notice that 0 base defense, 21 HP. His growths don't help with that. He's got 40% HP growth, 5% strength, which literally doesn't matter, 60% magic, 50% skill, 40% speed, 50% luck, 25% defense, and 55% res. Tomes are bad in Path of Radiance. Like, mages are just not particularly good at combat. And Riss is very, very frail, so he has a bad weapon type, good magic stat, but bad weapon type, bad bulk. He shouldn't be doing combat, he should just be staffing people, but he'll be, like, from raw numbers perspective, the best staffer. So if you just want really long physic range, you just want really big heals, he's your man, right? He also is the easiest one to raise staff rank on, not only because he starts with D rank staves in Chapter 2, so he'll hit, like, Ashura staff on time easily. But since light and staff are the same ranks, Riss is the only unit in the game who can use an arm scroll to raise his staff rank, because arm scrolls raise the rank of your currently equipped weapon. And you can't equip staves. So mages and Mist can't use an arm scroll to raise their staff. Mist uses it for swords, mages use it for whatever tomes they want, right? Riss, on the other hand, because light and staves share a rank, one, it means upon promotion, he can use higher rank light tomes. Not that that helps much, because Purge comes super late, it's on the mountain map, and Nosferatu's bad, like, because it's a tanking spell on the guy who, story-wise, is so frail the fever knocks him out for weeks, right? Like, he's not enemy facing with it, but that's nice. And then, like, the bigger thing is you can just equip a light tome and he's able to raise his staff rank, which is cool. I don't think he needs to, because he'll hit Ashura staff, which is the S rank staff, in a timely manner anyway. Like, he'll probably hit S rank staffs before you get the S rank staff, but it's nice. Enemies will double him because of his low strength. Right, because he has low strength. I guess when I said the strength doesn't matter, that's a lie. The 5% strength on 0 base does matter. It means he's even slower than he appears, and he already seems tragically slow, right? So, like, he should not be doing combat. He really shouldn't. It's weird as the only light user. I could have sworn they gave that to sages. Sages get to choose between staves and knives. They do not get light. I think you're confusing this with Sacred Stones. In Sacred Stones, sages get staves, light, and anima. But in Path of Radiance, the only light magic users are bishops, which is the promoted priest class. You get the S-rank light tome with funny stealing. Only through exploits. Like, that one does rely on an exploit. There's a glitch that causes it to get unequipped. But also, that's even later than the Ashura staff. So,
I don't understand how that I don't understand how that undercuts the idea of the rank, right? Like, it's even later than the Ashura staff, he'll hit it on time. But it is like a fun fact, right? To say that he can actually gain staff rank from it. And I guess if you're doing some sort of challenge run that involves benching units, like rotating, like determining your deploys based on a wheel, or an Iron Man and you benched him but then missed dies, being able to pull him off and like power him up that way is nice. In general though, I think just the really high base magic stat is doing it for me. Like, that's his biggest thing. Anyway, we're just gonna do this. Nosferatu, you mean the thing Tabarn stole from me? That's always the classic, isn't it? When Green Tabarn and Ulki, like, kill enemies and then you lose their droppables. It's always so funny. Damn, Ike is failing to dodge tank. I'm sure I told them to wait for me. I should have known they'd disobey orders. They have no discipline. Sorry, Titania, discipline doesn't get invented until Radiant Dawn. As a deputy commander of the Grail Mercenaries, I cannot allow any more of our people to get harmed. Titania, just casually strolling through this man. I get so frustrated when they kill the Adept enemy. That can be annoying. I honestly think Adept is like... Ike, why do you want the Sonic Sword so bad? Are you trying to steal the Sonic Sword from your sister? What's going on, Ike? She has hidden pass. I don't think she has the pass skill. I think that the enemy is just, they realize how fucking scary she is. They're like, oh, yeah, you can go ahead. No, sure, yeah, I won't try to stop you. Like, would you try to stop Titania? If she's like, I'm coming this way. I wouldn't. Does Riss die? I don't think he does to this Merm, right? What's his AS? Does it not? Oh, he's not weighed down by anything. He's 5 speed versus AS of... Where's it listed? Oh, do I have to calc it? Oh, well, either way, yeah, it doesn't... Yeah, so... Actually, I think we'll do this. Boyd attacks this guy. My Jill currently has 11 magic and 19 speed. Yo, strength on Boyd. Okay, he didn't get speed, which is unfortunate, but the strength means he's still currently fine. It's not Jover yet. Does no one in my army, aside from Ike, want to get strength? Ike heard me talking trash and decided to fucking just curse everyone else's growths. Just use the Forge Underflow for 100% crit tomes. I'm playing on the English version. That is a Japan exclusive glitch, actually. that was a glitch that they fixed in the international version. But I also, in the same vein as like stealing the light tome, when it comes to like, obviously play the game how you want, but I think if you're doing like an evaluation of units or whatever, I feel like we shouldn't be accounting for like using glitches and exploits unless you're like specifically doing like a glitched run evaluation. I wish they didn't fix it. I mean, I think it's a funny glitch, but it also, like, trivializes an already not particularly difficult game. I think it's fun to do once, right? Like, it's undeniably, I guess you could deny it, but I think it's undeniably fun to watch Soren just vantage crit his way through the entirety of Clash under no danger whatsoever. But then it's like, well, why bother? Like, why bother playing the game at this point, right?
I've been waiting for you, you red-haired demoness. You were gonna hurt, and hurt bad. This is for my mates who fell before you in Chaldea.
No matter your motives, you've taken helpless innocents and hostages. You're not fit to be called human. May the blessing of the goddess be kept from you for all eternity. Look at that, setting up a boss kill. The perfect Jagan. Yo, Boyd is doubling!
Ah, we won't lose, not to the likes of you.
He says right before losing to the likes of us.
This can't be. I don't deserve to lose to sellswords like you.
Be nice to show off the animations. I'll be honest, I think the map animations look really good. And I don't really want to waste my time with animations. But if you want to waste my time, there is a link to where people can donate to force me to turn animations on. Alright. Somehow we did it. Somehow? What do you mean somehow? We did it because we're better than them. And because you got a lucky crit in the last attack of the game. Boyd, calm yourself. What you did was in direct defiance of the orders I explicitly gave you. How it all turned out is another issue altogether. Deputy Commander, I take full responsibility. The failure is mine. Accept our apologies. Oscar, Riss. What am I supposed to do with you two? I think I'll leave you to the commander. He'll know how to handle you, I'm sure. Now let's find Mist and Rolf. According to the bandit chief, they're in that shack back. Eek! What? Mist? Please let us go! Please let us go! Mist! Brother, everyone, you came! Oh, I'm scared! Rolf? Oscar, help me! Rolf, I'm here too! Boyd? Ah! Stop crying! You don't need to worry. We'll get you out of there. That's right. Buckle up, buddy. I'll try. You. Hum either of them and I'll see you dead.
Shut up. Shut your stinking trap. If you want these two alive, you'll throw your weapons down. If you don't, I'll start with the girl.
Stop. Wait. Huh?
Yeah.
See, I'm putting down my weapons, see?
Yeah. Smart move, wench.
Deputy Commander, we're here to save them. Now all of you back off. Okay. Dang.
Notice how the map sprites are actually unequipping the weapons? I think that's really cool. This stinks!
So now you're all unarmed. Which means all you can do is watch while I gut this whiny little brat like a fatling pig.
Ah! And then in the top right, pew!
Ugh!
Rolf, can you hear me?
Mist, is Rolf, is he?
He's fine. He just fainted is all. There's not a scratch on him. Oh, don't do that to me. I'm just glad to see you both alive and well. You're so brave. Yep, thanks. This guy's dead. This arrow. Who shot it? A single arrow right between the eyes. Who else could make a shot like that? No one, that's who. That voice! Don't you children owe us a little gratitude? I did just save your lives.
Deputy Commander, Shannon, ha ha ha! You're both so cruel. With this armor on, you know I can't run that fast.
Shannon, Gatri! So that's where you went, Titania. Of course, I knew we'd need reinforcements. I'm glad it wasn't a waste of time. Well done, both of you. In the end, I got to feather someone, so it was worth the rush. All I did was sweat. That was hard work. Brother! Missed. You did well, sis. You must have been frightened. I never stopped believing. I knew you and the others would come and rescue us. I knew you'd come. So I was fine. Really? That's improvement on your usual sobbing and nose running. You jerk! My nose does not run! Alright, come on. Let's head for home. My goodness, what a day this has been. Alright, saving state. You wanted to see me, Father?
Sit down, Ike. We haven't had a chance to speak yet. Titania told me about what happened while I was gone. About the kidnappings. About my own men disobeying Titania's direct orders.
I was the one who left first. I'll take responsibility for everything. No fair playing the martyr. Nobody made me go with you. I left of my own free will. I'm ready to accept my punishment, too. Wait, what am I saying? Please, Commander Grail. Titania entrusted me with her orders. If anyone's to blame for this mess, it's me. I'm the one who should be punished. I set a poor example, Commander Grail. Any punishment should be mine alone.
I'm pleased to see that you are all willing to shield one another. However, regardless of your reasons, you disobeyed the orders of a superior officer. You're confined to quarters for 10 days.
But Father, they did what they did to help me and Rolf.
Rules exist for a reason, Mist. Men won't survive on the battlefield if they do as they wish without so much as a by your leave.
I understand, and I accept the reprimand.
That being said, we got more work than we can handle. Your punishment is deferred until things calm down. Oscar, Boyd, Riss, you come with me.
Shannon, Gatri, and you, Ike, you're with me.
Yararo! Me belly's emptier than me first mate's head. Fetch me some grub.
You're grounded, except not really. Great parenting, Grail. That's the pirate ship in question, isn't it?
Aye. They sailed into port a few days ago and have been causing trouble ever since. I pray you and your companions can drive them away.
I understand. We'll do all we can. Feathering sea scum is just like shooting apples off a tree. Let's do the job and get out of here. Ho ho! Deputy Commander! You want the standard thunder and lightning maneuvers here? Thunder and lightning? Yeah, and I crash into him like thunder, and Shinon rains arrows down on him like lightning. Sounds good. What should I do? Let's hold back and let Shinon and Gotri soften them up. Once they've whittled down the numbers, we'll all rush the ship and wipe out whatever's left. That's actually good advice for this map, because a lot of people mess up the Marcia recruitment by rushing. It's actually easier if you take it slowly, because she spawns based on the zones. Are you ready? Grail mercenaries, move out. On my way. Here we go! Ready. So, for anyone who doesn't know, Marcia spawns as a green unit, like right here. And she ends up fighting like these three people, and they can potentially kill her before you can talk to her. Ike has to talk to her, and then she'll like leave. A lot of people, once they know that, will rush to try to get to her as fast as possible, but that actually ends up getting her killed more often, because she only spawns not based on the turn, but the first turn you end with someone north of this line. So what you want to do is first just slowly take care of people, and then push forward, and then she'll show up and you can get to her easier. Does PR have different facial expressions for the mug, or is everyone's face stuck like that? I think most people have like a couple of slightly different expressions, but it's not as expressive as like Three Houses is, for example, or Engage, where everyone has like tons of different expressions. I think it's closer to like GBA, where there's like minor differences. Before we enter the map, so we technically have preps now, but all that means is we can trade. Oh, right, you can't use from preps. You can only use in the base. I think if we want to use Boyd long term, we should give him the Speedwing and Oscar the Seraph-Robe, I think. God, my precious turn count. The BXP turns for this is 6, and it's kill boss. You can pretty easily hit the max without any problems. Before we dive in though, let's do our unit reviews. I'll do Gotri first, cause spoilers, when Grail dies, Shinon and Gotri abandon you. And they will eventually come back at different times, but it means that even though they're like technically early game units, they don't really function the same as other early game units. You can like train either of them in these like first few chapters, but they don't really feel like early game units when like Shinon rejoins you halfway through the game, right? So Gotri is your sort of standard armor knight. Low move, even lower move than regular infantry. He's got armored movement, so he only has 5 move. You'll notice that's the same as Riss, our priest, because mages also have armored movement. As compared to Boyd, who has 6, and then Shinon is promoted, so he has 7. When Gotri promotes, he'll get 6, right? So that's unfortunate. It's sort of the infantry problems, but exacerbated. His stat spread is also not great. He focuses on strength, defense, and HP, to the detriment of speed and skill. Skill is pretty fixable by just giving him a plus hit forge, and he uses lances. Like, it's not as bad as it would be with axes, and they get swords on promo if you like really care about the accuracy. But losing speed sucks. It means he doesn't double. Basically means he does half as much damage as other people. The defense is nice. It means he can be literally invincible against large swaths of enemies. But since most of your other units are functionally invincible because they have to get hit by like 10 enemies to die, I think that that's not as big a deal. I think it's not as big a deal as compared to like the not being able to double, right? Like I think it's a pretty big downside. His growths they lean in the direction where you would expect from his bases. He's got an 80% HP growth, 55% strength growth, 5% magic, 55% skill, 25% speed, 25% luck, 60% defense, 30% res, and 0 res base means he is vulnerable to mages, but with that fat HP and just how like low impact mages often are, it's kind of like no big deal. He can still take 1 or 2 mage attacks as long as he doesn't get crit by a thunder mage. I guess the other thing worth mentioning, and I should have mentioned this when it came to Oscar and Titania, is the Night Ward is an item that exists that you get about halfway through the game, or about a quarter of the way through the game. And it can be equipped by Paladins or Armor Knights. It boosts, I believe, your defense and res, but the bigger thing is it boosts your speed growth. And so you can give that to Godfrey to try to like help fix his speed growth, but I'd rather give it to someone with a good speed growth to make it a great speed growth, rather than a abysmal speed. Well, he's got a bad speed growth, and it becomes like okay, right? POR Night Ward. Yeah, 2 defense, 2 resistance, 30% extra speed growth. So it gets him from 25 to 55, which like, okay, that takes it from bad to good, right? But I'd rather like give it to Oscar or Titania or Kieran or someone, right? And take Oscar's 45, turn it to 75, right? That's a good growth, turns it great, right? Night Ward also works for soldiers and halberdiers. Right, I forgot. Nephany and Devdon stonks rising. I know Nephany fans will defend her, but you know, she's not very good. Ultimately, Godfrey is like, I think he ends up being a fine filler unit in the mid game. And if you want to train him up, like, he will very much be the I don't die to anything physical guy. And that's like, there's worse places to be than that. It just sucks that he's on armored move. I think that's just the most unfortunate part of him, is like, when everyone basically doesn't die, being the guy who super doesn't die isn't that special. And the downside of like lower movement, higher weight, so like he can't get shoved around as easy, although he can shove people more easily. It's just like, it's whatever, right? You can certainly do worse than Godfrey, but you can do a lot better as well. This is the worse than Godfrey, by the way. Shannon gaslights you into thinking he's gonna be like Jagan number 2, because he's a sniper. That's a promoted class, right? His stats are fucking abysmal. Like 9 strength. He's got worse stats than Titania, which like, oh no, I've got worse stats than Titania. But the reason his stats are abysmal is that when he rejoins you is halfway through the game. He joins you in chapter 19 out of 28? So 2/3 of the way through the game. And like, he's not gaining experience during the Grail Mercs arc, so he's probably just gonna have these stats. Now he does actually have really good growths. 75% HP, 65% strength, 20% magic, 70% skill, 65% speed, 35% luck, 50% defense, 40% resistance. So he's got really fucking good growths. Like, those are some of the best growths in the game. Making him, of course, a Shanam archetype. The pre-promote growth unit. But,
even then, it's not worth it because he's stuck on bows. Bows are easily the worst weapon type in the game. I think bows are even worse than tomes. And they're worse than swords. Like, they're worse than everything. The big thing is you can't really enemy phase with them that well. As I said, most of your units you're going to want to do the majority of your combat on enemy phase, fighting a bunch of people, like fighting hordes of foes. And Shinon just isn't doing that because he's 2-range locked. He can't counterattack melee enemies. You can find situations for him to like counterattack other bow enemies or tome enemies or anything like that. But for the most part, he's just not going to be enemy phasing. Knives are worse than bows. Maybe this is a hot take. I think knives are better than bows. They're worse than swords and tomes, though. I'll give you that. I forgot about them. But they're better than bows because they can attack at 1 range. I think being able to attack at 1 range is better than being 2-range locked. He rejoins in 18, not 19. No, he doesn't. He rejoins in 19. He's a boss in 18. He's a red unit in 18, but you can't recruit him on 18. You gotta kill him on 18 in order to recruit him on 19. He rejoins in 19. But, yeah, just bow's bad. Like, bow's bad kind of explains it all. The other thing is that, so in addition to, like, only doing 1 attack on player phase, and probably not a kill, because look at his stats, right? The sort of appeal to bows is they can deal effective damage to flyers, of which there's not actually that many. There's wyverns. Actually, no, there's a decent number of wyverns in the late game. If bows were actually good against wyverns, if they were actually the weapon type you want to use against wyverns, then that would be one thing. But effective damage in Path of Radiance is 2 times, not 3 times. So the basic iron bow has 12 might against wyverns. Steel bow has 18 might against wyverns. And like, that's good. Like, that's a good high might weapon. But just use a fucking forged hand axe or something. Use a weapon with actual, like, use a unit with actual strength. And just a weapon with good might. If this was 3 times effectiveness, meaning this would be like 27 might, then maybe you might have a case for like on Maniac mode, shooting down scary flyers or something, but with just 2x, even on Maniac mode, he doesn't have a niche where you like might actually want a player phase delete button. He just isn't that. Sniper's got a crit bonus though, which is pretty cool. So like if you want to do player phase stuff, I guess using the it's not displayed, is it? He passively has it, but that's why he's got 22 crit right now, is he gets plus 15 crit. It's not good. Like the 15 crit, that's the thing about 15 crit bonuses, is they're scary on enemies. Like it makes enemy snipers terrifying because if they crit you, then you just like you shit your pants, like Donald Trump did on that press conference yesterday. But if you are trying to rely on critical hits, you can do like crit stacking stuff. Well, we don't have crit supports in this, but like a killer weapon plus Swordmaster or Sniper plus Wrath can like get you there. But like, I don't know. I don't think the 15 crit, I really don't think 15 crit is very good, especially in this game where you can't even crit stack with supports. But like, in general, it's just much scarier in the enemy's hands than it is in the player's hands. And that's unfortunate. Shinon also has Provoke. This is mostly a flavor skill because it attracts enemies to attack him instead of others. But since he's 2-range locked, most people are going to attack him instead of others anyway, because, like, they want to attack people who can't counter them. So, like, I don't know. It's a good flavor skill, because it's, like, a clever reference to how he's such a fucking asshole. Everyone wants to smack the shit out of him. But I don't think it's super helpful, because he would already be attracting attacks. I also
don't think Provoke is, like, reliable in Path of Radiance.
It, like, adjusts things to a vague extent, and I've been told that we've, like, found a way to make it reliable now, and it has to do with, like, 1-2 range units and stuff. I don't know if that's accurate or not. If it is, like, you can probably do some stuff with it. But in Shanon's case, like, I think they're gonna attack him anyway. He's 2 range locked. So maybe I'm wrong. I guess I'll do some testing to figure it out. Cause we're using him for these chapters. Oh right, you can actually reposition here, I forgot. But the D-pad is fucking weird. I hate how the D-pad works in this, because I usually use the D-pad instead of the stick, but if you use the D-pad, it like snaps to a specific unit. Right D-pad is Titania, left D-pad is Ike, down D-pad is Godfrey, and up D-pad is Shannon. But like pressing the same one twice it's so weird. I hate it. Let's put you there. The 15 crit is kind of just annoying in the early game, because if you're trying to feed kills to Ike and you're like, yes, Shannon leaves this guy at 3 HP, and then Shannon's like, you forgot snipers have 15% crit. And I'm just like, god damn it, you asshole. Like this right here, right? I want to set up a kill for Ike. Shannon, please behave. Please behave. Thank you. I treat both Shade and Provoke like they don't exist. I think that's generally the best way to play. Unless you have done, like, extensive digging in the code and know things that I don't know. In which case, like, then, you know, go off of that, but why are you going to me for advice? Oh, perfect. Set up a kill for Godtree. POR has mostly useless abilities and then a few incredibly important ones. I want to try to do some, like, silly skill stuff in this run. I guess a peek behind the curtain. I kind of want to do a Vantage crit Swordmaster. I want to give Vantage and Wrath to one of the Myrmidons. Which one? I don't know. I guess it'll sort of depend on if chat, like, pays me to force deploy Mia or Zehark or something. But I think that'd be kind of cool. Colossus isn't Praxis. Oh yeah, shoutouts to Godtree doubling this guy. I guess, like, any plans that I have can very easily be derailed by chat being like, actually, we want you to use this unit. So I shouldn't, like, think too extensively about using a specific character. This town seems quite unruly, wouldn't you say? Is it always this dangerous? Oh, so it's plagued by pirates, is it? I see. Well, that would explain why the people here are so anxious. You would appear to be a mercenary. Would I be right in supposing that you were hired to clean out the pirates? Here, perhaps you should take this. It might help you if you run into trouble contending with the pirates. But do hurry. I came all this way to see the world-famous fish market, and I'll never do so with those ruffians around. Best of luck to you. I love unit facing. See right there, Provoke didn't do anything! The archers still attacked Ike because Ike couldn't counter. This is what I'm talking about. Provoke isn't actually, like, doing anything for you. If you notice that Shannon is getting attacked more often than the rest of your characters, have you considered that it's because he can't counterattack? What is the line? Is it this line or this line? I need to look it up. I can never remember. FE9 chapter 3. Passing row 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's this one. 6, 7. Yes, yes. I'm a young person now. I can't imagine playing this on a real Wii. I play it on a real GameCube. I mean, I don't anymore. I gave my copy away as part of the charity stream like 3 years ago. But, you know, I grew up with it. Yo, that's a good level up! This was my first Fire Emblem. I think it's awesome to play on a real GameCube. It's just also, you know, $1 million. Hey, you! Boat monkey! You tricked me, didn't you?
Tricked you? What vile, nasty thing to be saying, don't you agree, matey? Yar, that I do. There'll be nothing but honest pirates aboard this ship, missy.
You said you knew the whereabouts of my older brother. That's why I came all the way to your stinking ship.
Aye, and we do know. He was on board for a while, and then? Do you recall where he went, matey? Yar, that I do. He was a penniless oaf, so we tossed his worthless carcass into the rolling waves. Yar-ho!
My brother? That's horrid!
Horrid? Did you say horrid? Your scary brother was the horrid one. He lost the game of chance, he did. If you lose, you must pay. And the scallywag tried to cheat me. By Shanty Pete, he did. Yar, calm yourself, me hearty. Yar, yar, yar. After all, his brother and sisters come to pay us a visit. What say you work off your brother's debt?
What say I run you through with my lance and call it a day? Marcia, can I teach you about the weapon triangle? Because they're axe wielders. Don't threaten them with a lance.
Yar-ho! It matters not that you be a Pegasus Knight, lassie. Yeah, a wee minnow like yourself is no match for us sea dogs. Prepare yourself, you flying wench.
I'm not afraid of you, Clambake. If your axe is as dull as your wit, this will be over in no time. The pirates are right. Makalov is horrible. Yo, Provoke actually working! 1 EXP for kill, by the way. I thought this was a Wii game. No, Radiant Dawn is a Wii game, but Path of Radiance is on the GameCube. Yo, Marcia not dodging attacks. She doesn't die to all 3 attacks, but like, not dodging any is really fucking sad. Ike has to be the one to talk to her, so... Is this like Tingle, where Japanese Makalov is more than their international audience does? What do you mean? I don't know that much about Tingle beyond the fact that he's not actually a fairy. Spoilers. He's not a fairy. Recruitable green unit not dodging attacks is unepic Pent archetype. Yo, green unit Pent. The green units could learn something from green Pent is all I'm saying. What does Astrid see in Makalov? I mean, I think Astrid Makalov, as much as the fan base hates it, I think that's genuinely a really good pairing. Not because that, like, makes them happy. I'll talk about it after the Marcia thing, hold on. Oh, crackers, there's too many of them. I don't want to die here. Brother, this might be the end. Marcia, you can't say that word, you'll get my Twitch deleted. Hey, are you alright? So cold, so... Huh? Don't give up. Who are you? I'm a mercenary. Villagers hired us to get rid of these pirates. Are you gonna help me? Of course. Let me and my companions take it from here. You can escape while the pirates are distracted. Hey, that would be fantastic. Thanks so much. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. It's all in a day's work. Pshaw, you're helping me out. I should show you my gratitude somehow. That's nice, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Just get yourself somewhere safe, please. Well then, I'll come talk to you about repaying my debt later. What's your name, handsome? I'm Ike. I'm the Ground Mercenaries. Ike, got it. And I'm Marcia, Pegasus Knight Begnion. Don't forget me! Alright, I'll be seeing you later. So basically, and you see this in their Path of Radiance support, Makalov is just kind of a scammy scumbag. Trying to get whatever he can, right? Astrid is an incredibly naive character who thinks she has way more worldly experience than she actually does. And so it makes perfect sense that she would end up falling for him and, like, just not realizing that he's taking advantage of her. And, yeah, I think there's genuinely a chance that he, like, cares about her. He's just, you know, at the end of the day, he cares about Marcia and he steals from her too, right? Like, it's just, unfortunately, kind of a unfortunately common thing with, you know, gambling addiction and... yeah.
Yararhi. You're busting me gut, you rudderless fool. Do you think you can face me a mighty axe and live? Stab!
How did she not realize that he stole a family heirloom and only returned it because Marcia said so? I mean, how did she not realize that Gatri is, you know, a womanizer, right? Like, in her very first conversation with Ike, her entire characterization is that she resents being a pampered noble and wants to, you know, sort of make her own way in the world, but is also woefully unprepared for it because she has lived her entire life in this, you know, pampered noble situation where she just is not world-wise, right? I think it's entirely reasonable that even when he does something like that, she wouldn't pick up on it for, you know, what it is. You know, why does Princess Jasmine in Aladdin think that she can just like steal stuff and not have to worry about it. Like, the noble who is so fucking give back what you've stolen from the good folk here and set sail. Yar har har. Ah, now I know you're touched in the head, lassie. Well, show 'em our axes and say "Arr," and the golden grub will come raining down. We'll not be giving this up. I see. Looks like we'll have to rely on force of arms then. You know, the noble who's just like so out of touch that even the most basic things they fall for. It's a trope as old as time. Yar, help me. All right, give me a good level up, please. That's all right. It's all right. I honestly like that they end up together because it's honestly tragic for both of them. Like, Astrid, obviously, she's stuck in what I would arguably say you could describe as an abusive relationship. And Makalov, he's just never gonna grow. He's got someone who enables his worst tendencies, and because of that, he's just gonna continue to stay the same scumbag he was. Like, it's tragic on both accounts. But, like, I don't think every character needs to have a happy ending, right? It's sad, but I think it's better than everyone ended up happy and held hands and kumbaya'd. Hooray. We've driven off the pirates. Your people will suffer no more indignities at their hands.
Oh, that is joyful news. You shall pay as promised.
Thank you very much. And if you find yourself in need again, do not hesitate to send word.
Of course, of course. Oh, but the most marvelous show. Such combat skills. To be honest, I was expecting Commander Graylia today. When I saw just you, nothing more than, no offense, a band of children, well, I admit to being a tad nervous.
I apologize for troubling you. Unfortunately, Commander Grell had other pressing matters to attend to.
Oh, don't apologize. There's no need. After all, you got rid of those brigands. You did impeccably well.
It was a fine compliment you pay, sir, but it was our pleasure.
As a matter of fact, you're more than good enough to be in the Royal Army if you so desired. Especially your Commander Grail. He's fallen away better than most any general I've seen hereabouts. What I mean to say is, don't you think running off pirates is a bit beneath you?
That's not...
Don't get me wrong now, you certainly helped us simple folk out. Even so, it seems the proper place for you and your Commander Grail is to service the Chromian throne. That's what this old man thinks.
We and Commander Grail are quite satisfied with the work we do now.
You've narrowed yourself for spirit among you. Well, rest assured we'll speak again if any problems arise. Thank you again.
Titania? Is something amiss? No, of course not. Our mission is complete, and that's all that matters. You did well today. Every one of you.
Pah.
Jobs like this barely make a dent in my incurable boredom. It's like that old buzzard said. There's better work out there. Something a bit of challenge. Shannon. I'm joking. J-O-K-N. Come, Titania. Be honest. Do you find the work to you would be a bit disheartening, unglamorous? What? You too, Gotri. What's gotten into you? Please! We're not a band of money-hungry recruits. We're professionals. And we're very good at what we do. Shannon and I have discussed at length all this mundane mercenary work is unworthy of us. We're wasting our talents. I see. You're telling me that you think Commander Grail is mismanaging us. Do I have that right? Whoa! Ho, ho, ho! Hold it right there. That's not what I'm saying at all. What is it, Titania? What's what? You seem angry. It's not like you. Pfft. Exactly! Ike's got the right of it! It's just that... Look, we do good work. And we help people. I want you to be proud of that. I felt like you were saying the work doesn't bring fame and fortune. It isn't worth doing. That's all. Sorry. No, you're right. We are the ones who ought to apologize. Enough. Let's get going, shall we? Rest is part of our jobs too. We can't go to the next battle exhausted. Now that's a plan. I'm so hungry I could eat a wyvern.
Titania! What is it? If you're looking for pride, I have it. Insert gay flag filter! Hmm? You and my father have kept this mercenary group together, and I'm just gay. That's all. Ike. Ugh. I'm surrounded by idealistic fools. What's so wrong with fame? What's wrong with having money to live well? Yeah, we lost a little bit of BXP turns there, but, like, it's fine. It's fine. Ike, I've got something to tell you. Listen to this. Settle down, Mist. It's too early for you to be yelling like that. What's going on? Soren's back. He just arrived. Really? That's odd. He wasn't supposed to return for a while yet. I know. I wonder what he's doing back so soon. It's probably nothing to worry about. I'll go talk to him. Where is he? In the mess hall. I think you want to talk to Father. Right. I'll go check there. Troubling news indeed. Gather the troops. Yes, Commander. Ike, if you got time to waste, you got time to work. Get over to the briefing room. Yes, sir. Hey, what's going on around here? Bad news. Something big is happening. You need to formulate a plan of action. Soren! Hello, Ike. Long time no see. I'm happy to see you're back. But what happened? I thought you would be studying a little while longer. It's a long story. What's the holdup? Get over here now. Let's go. I'll fill you in later. You probably remember that Soren's been training with another mercenary group. Well, he's back now. And he has some unbelievable news. What news is that? It's Crimea and Dane. They've gone to war. War? It can't be. That's why I've called everyone here. Soren has some more information. Go ahead, Soren. Alright. Take a look at this map. Ah, that's the map of Crimea. Quite a detailed one from the looks of it. Yes. This is Melior, Crimea's capital. Our base of operations is right about here. Everything started just 3 days ago. I needed to do some research, so I went to the archives of Melior's Royal Library. Without warning, the scream of a terrible beast, a wyvern perhaps, rent the air. The building was rocked with a tremor. I rushed outside and saw wave after wave of knights, cavalry, and wyvern riders, each clad in glistening ebon armor, black as night. The Dane army? Correct. Was there provocation? As you know, relations between Crimea and Dane have never been friendly. However, the past centuries have seen only minor skirmishes. Nothing that has ever approached the scale of this attack. It was brutal and without warning. Dane laid the capital to waste. I've never seen destruction on this scale before. A swift attack, devastating and brutal. A daring gambit indeed. But if it succeeds, a very well chosen one at that. Yes, the King of Dane would not hesitate to employ such treacherous tactics. What happened next? The king's brother deployed the Crimean army to meet the attack. The king ordered his people to flee the city before the battle reached them. Fearing the worst, I also fled, made my way here. So, we don't know how the tides of battle flow now, do we? That's right. Word of the war cannot have traveled far. We may well be the first ones who know of it out here. You did well to bring this information, Soren. I know some risk was involved. It was nothing. Dane has invaded Crimea. We may be mercenaries, but this still affects us. What are we gonna do? That's the question of the day. How do you see it, Titania? Crimea is the closest thing our company has to a homeland. The Crimean royal family and noble houses have been generous, providing us with many lucrative jobs. From a moral standpoint, as well as a business one, it's in our best interest to help Crimea. And you, Soren? I agree on one point. We are mercenaries. We're not Crimea's private militia. No coin has crossed our palms, and so I think we should stay out of it. You would have us sit and watch as Crimea is overrun? I would. Dane's troops are superior in both numbers and morale. The chances of a Crimean victory are slim indeed. But Crimea is ruled by King Ramon, who is known throughout the land for his wisdom. And his brother, Duke Renning, is said to possess peerless valor and courage. Dane may not find victory so easy. Valor and courage are for children's tales. In terms of military prowess, Dane's king, Ashnard, is every bit Lord Renning's equal. Victory will hinge upon troop numbers and supplies, and Dane is superior in both. I think the outcome is painfully obvious. Curse you, Soren. Crimea is not doomed. And if they can turn aside Dane's initial thrust and turn into a test of endurance, with the Crimean army both demoralized and ill-prepared, I simply will not be able to hold out that long. All right, that's enough. Both of you. I hear what you say. However, we must ascertain the current situation before we decide on any action. We'll send a scouting party to get a closer look at Melior. Ike, I want you in charge of this. Assemble your men and get going. What? Me? Titania will accompany you as an advisor. Commander, you must be joking. He's just a boy and he's barely had more than a taste of battle. What do you expect a whelp like him to accomplish? Ah, Shannon. Since you're so concerned, you can go as well. But wait, that's not what I... Blast. Who else? Gatri, Riss, and Soren. That should do. Father, wait. Why do you want me... That was an order. Get moving. There's no time to waste. Yes, sir. Titania? Going up for a bit. I want you to like some direction. Understood. Yes, sir. Ike, wait up! What? Here, this is for you. A sword? Where did you get it? From Father. He told me to come and give it to you. It's beautiful. This is the first sword you've gotten that wasn't a hand-me-down from somebody, isn't it? That's great. Yeah. Well, be careful. Oh, and bring me a souvenir, something nice. I've never been to Melio before. Missed, I'm not going on vacation. Sheesh. You got time to waste, you got time to work. Grell would be a great retail manager. He would be an awful retail manager. I hate that fucking attitude. You got time to lean, you got time to clean. Are you feeling alright, Ike? You haven't said a word in quite some time. I don't understand what my father's doing. Why'd he put a new recruit like me in charge of something so important? You're going to succeed him as our commander one day. Don't you think he wants you to know how to lead? Me? I don't know if I'm capable. And even if I am, that's a long days off, right? I mean, I'm inexperienced, weak. I'm nothing compared to my father. I'm not sure about that. When I look at you, I see a young man full of promise. Commander Grell's a great man, but I think you'll be every bit his equal. In time, you might even surpass him. Don't be ridiculous. It's just my opinion. You need not paying any mind. It's also just my opinion that Inino is an S-tier unit. Yet, if you fear your own weakness, why not take this chance and go out and better yourself? That would be more in keeping with your personality, no? I suppose you're right. How things look over there, Soren? Same as here. Corpses are strewn everywhere. There are quite a lot of them, especially when you consider how far we are from the capital. Are they Crimean? Judging by the armor, the vast majority of the dead are Dane soldiers. So Crimea has the upper hand? Just the opposite, I think. The Crimean soldiers were members of the Imperial Guard. That means King Ramon, or another member of the royal family, was on the move when the Dane soldiers fell on them. Could it have been Lord Renning? No. As long as the Crimean army still draws breath, Lord Renning will not leave their command. Perhaps another member of the court? We've got Dane soldiers moving on our location, and they don't look happy.
You there? Who are you? What are you doing here? We're no one you need. You are armed. Heed me. Drop your weapons and surrender. Act quickly or else. Listen to me, fool. You're making a mistake. You're not going to cooperate, eh? Ready your weapons, men. Move in and kill them all. Headstrong fools. Getting caught up in some kind of skirmish was not part of the plan. But they're obviously not going to listen to us. Real mercenaries, get ready to fight. This cutscene's so funny on Maniac mode because like twice as many red units pop out. It's so funny. Alright, Ike. Let's see how you can handle the role of captain. Well, what are your orders, boy? We'll do as you say so long as you hurry up and spit it out. I know. I'm thinking. Give me a moment, will you, Shannon? Ah, useless. We'll be better led with mist than this soft, untested whelp. So, Soren! Always lost in your books. Well, book, singular. And that's a big part of the problem. So Soren is a mage. As I've mentioned a couple of times prior, mages are not particularly good in Path of Radiance. They've got armored movement, which sucks. And then they have tomes, which are a 1-2 range weapon type, but have abysmal might. Wind has 2 might, fire has 3, thunder has 4. And then as you go up to like the L's, well, I guess it's just the L's, and then Thoron. Like, there's not even that many good variants of tome weapons. But they get like a little bit better, but they're statistically they're far behind the physical equivalents. This is often the case in Fire Emblem, and usually it's made up for by the fact that enemies have low res. And in these early chapters, the game might gaslight you into thinking that that's actually the case. Like, look, 6 defense, 1 res, that's a difference of 5. 6 defense, 2 res, that's a difference of 4. 5 defense, 1 res, that's a difference of 4. Difference of 6. Even here, actually, it's kind of obvious that, like, basically, the difference between defense and res is usually, like, 4 or 5. At most. And some classes, like Paladins, or, like, weirdly, a lot of generals, like general bosses, sometimes just have better res than defense. It's weird. But mages are still hitting on the weaker defensive stat, but it's no longer the case where, like, a 20 defense enemy will have 0 res. Instead, a 20 defense enemy has 15 res. So, now the fact that mages have a weaker weapon type is actually going to hurt them. Because strength is what offsets weapon weight, mages are also weighed down a lot more often. Soren with a base 0 strength and a 5% growth is basically always going to be weighed down by every weapon. Now, tomes are lighter than physical weapons, but whereas a unit like Boyd, right, will eventually get 12 strength and never get weighed down by the Iron Axe, Soren's always going to get weighed down by, like, Elwind, which is unfortunate. His stats are, like, I mean, it's what you expect out of a mage, right? He's incredibly physically frail. 18 HP and 2 defense means he can get 2 rounded on this map, which is impressive. It's impressively frail. His speed is, like, actually pretty good, and his magic base isn't great, but he's got 60% magic growth, so he's tied with Riss for the highest magic growth, and he's a level 1 mage. So if you want to, you can sort of train him up, and he's got, of the mages, because you get 3 project mages, Ileana, Soren, and Tormod. Of them 3, he's the only one whose average stats are actually better than Khalil, the pre-promote you get. So if you want to train a mage up, he's probably the best target, but he also needs the most in terms of, like, babying and bonus experience. And the really annoying thing, right, is because he joins early. He joins right here in Chapter 4, and he's around in Chapters 5, 6, and 7. 6, 7, I'm a young person. But he's only got 40 uses of wind, because you do not get another tome until midway through Chapter 7. I would say close to the end of Chapter 7, like about halfway through, maybe 2/3 of the way, depending on how you route the map.
So he can only do 40 attacks, and let's be honest, because he's not dealing enough damage to one-shot, it's 20 rounds of combat, because he's heavily relying on doubling to deal, like, decent amounts of damage. Now, he does have Adept. Adept is a speed % chance to get an extra attack, so, like, he can triple sometimes, like in RNG, and, like, that's cool. Unfortunately, it doesn't save weapon durability, like, it's the same amount of weapon durability spent, so he's in this weird spot where he wants you to train him up in the early game, but there's a cap to how much you can train him, so you can't actually, like, give him the babying he wants beforehand. For that reason, I honestly think, like, if you're trying to train up and promote a Sage to get, like, staves, because the main advantage that the unpromoted mages have is they can get staves on promotion, whereas both pre-promotes, Bastion and Khalil, have knives instead of staves, so they will never be able to roll Compress, Staffer, and Combat Mage, whereas Tormod, Soren, and Ileana all can. I think Ileana is probably the most tempting one, just because she'll probably be a higher level than Soren when she joins. And even though her stats are going to be slightly worse than him, she just needs less babying. And that's kind of all, that's like her appeal. Asbel at home. Yo, that is such a rude comparison. Do not compare Soren to my goat. He's so bad. He's so bad. Like, he's abysmally bad. I will say this, right? Because him starting with D rank Wind and a Wind Tome in his inventory does lead to, I've seen some people say, like, Soren's bad because Wind is bad, and therefore, like, Ileana uses Thunder, which is better. It's worth pointing out, all three mages can use all three weapon types, and, like, yes, it's gonna be easier for Soren to get Tornado than Thoron, which is the highest rank, but there's not enough tomes for it to really matter. And the magic number is C rank. You want to get to C rank, because C rank is Siege Tome territory. That's where you get the 10 range spells, those being Blizzard, Blizzard, Bolting, and Meteor. And, like, that's the main appeal of mages. It helps make up for their armored movement, too, if you can attack 10 tiles away. So, like, Soren is not locked to Wind. Wind is the worst magic type, but you can just give him Fire or Thunder. Nothing is stopping you from doing that. Soren needs Graf Caliber. Soren just needs a Forged Thunder. Maybe we'll forge a tome for him and name it Graf Caliber or some shit. That is the other unfortunate thing, is that, like, tomes are the most expensive to forge, because the way that forging math is calculated has to do with base stats. And so to make a 4 might, if you give a Wind Tome +2 might, you're doubling its might. So it costs more than giving +2 to an axe, where you are not doubling it. Like, if you give +2 to the Iron Sword, that's a +50%. Where +2 to Wind is +100%. So +2 might on Wind is more expensive than on Iron Sword, because it goes off of a, like, percentage formula based on how much you're adjusting it percentage-wise from the initial stats. So tomes are just so much more expensive to forge than any other weapon type because their stats are so low. And you can only forge the base tomes. You can eventually forge steel, silver, and throwable variants of lances, axes, and swords, except for no throwable swords. But you can only ever forge basic wind, basic fire, basic thunder, and basic light. So they're, like, in every possible avenue, they are just disadvantaged. I actually have a video coming out soon. By the time the Unit Review compilation comes out, it'll already be out. But I have a video coming out, I believe this Friday or Saturday, talking about Tellius mages and how just the deck is stacked against them. And unfortunately, like, even though Soren's gonna have the best stats of the Tellius mages, he's still going to have all the mage properties. And that's before you even factor in that, like, this is a game where you want to fight a bunch of people on enemy phase, and Soren is one of the frailest combat units in the game. I didn't read out his growths, did I? 45% of HP growth on an 18 base? That's fucking abysmal. 5% strength growth, So he'll always get weighed down. 60% magic growth, that's great. That's great. Tied for the highest. 55% skill growth, so he'll have no accuracy issues. Oddly enough, only 40% speed growth. Like, that's actually pretty bad for what is supposed to be the fast mage, especially with an 8 base. That's like slightly better than Boyd, right? Boyd has, that's worse speed growth than Boyd! What the fuck? I forgot he was slow in this. I knew he was slow in Radiant Dawn. I forgot he was slow in this too. That's so awful. 30% luck, 15% defense, 55% res. Mage on mage combat will happen. Goddamn, he's slow in this game too. I forgot. He just feels like he should be fast because he's a wind mage. Just give him 7 Draco shields. Is that easy? Yo, why didn't I think of that? That sounds like a video you made recently. Never mind, it's because I'm a Patreon. Yeah, subscribe to patreon.com/Danny Doyle if you want early access to a video. Is Tormod actually fast? Are they all snail core? I think Tormod is like... Let me pull it up. Tormod's got a 45% speed growth, so he's Boyd core. But Tormod's got his own problems. So yeah, mages are just like, they really are just armor knights. They've got armored movement and low speed, but then they're not bulky. They're frail armor knights. What's Khalil's speed? I mean, it's fine. Like, she's a pre-promote. I believe, like, on average, at 26, Soren has better stats than her, but by, like, 1 to 2 points each. The main advantage to training Soren or Ilyana or Tormod is the staffing. But like I said with Riss, I don't think staffing is, like, all that valuable. I don't think it's enough to justify the training of the mages. Just train Miss, horse plus staff. Yeah, and then you can do Sonic Sword combat, smiley face. 6 damage. He's not even doubling! I mean, that's a mercenary. Does he double the soldier? He probably doubles the soldier, right? Yeah. 6 times 2. He fucking 3 rounds a generic-ass soldier. This is so sad. Shannon, show him how a real man does it. Oh my god, no, I didn't want you to crit! We're trying to train people! Here, the soldier can attack Soren. Nana at home. Not everyone needs to be at home. They're outside right now. They're touching grass. I love unit facing where everyone just immediately stares at camera at the end of every turn. Yo, provoke worked, smiley face. This is typically how I approach this map. I just have Titania rush off and everyone else huddle in the corner and do their, like, training strats. Because without Boyd and Oscar, like, it's just Ike and Soren to funnel experience into. Even if you're doing the Mega Soren, like I said, you don't want to have, like, spend tons of wind early on. There's the ceiling on that. So I find that just, like, getting them a couple of kills is fine. Titania solos an FE9 map, impossible. I know, feeling daring today, aren't we, Squidward? Titania's a good training project. I mean, look at all the experience she's getting. She's gonna get such good level ups.
This music is quite nostalgic. I do really like the soundtrack of this map. I think whatever your first Fire Emblem is, the soundtrack's just always gonna stick in your head, right? This is Thracia at its fastest? What do you mean by that? Titania has better or just as good growth as your growth units. Yeah, her problem is just that she gains less experience. I mean, I say problem, but like, it's not a problem. It's, you know, it's what she's supposed to do. I fought the Crimean army before. The Imperial Guard has some skill, but the rest are a poor joke. Which will you prove to be, Perhaps you offer me some entertainment after all. If you attacked us because you thought we were the Crimean army, you made a mistake. I left my post years ago. I'm nothing more than a common mercenary. That means nothing to me. You're not a Dane, you're armed, and you're here. It's our job to destroy you. Simple, wouldn't you say? Come, dog, prepare yourself. I'd just as soon avoid this bloodshed, but that seems unlikely. If that's the way it is, I'll not hold back. Bronco. Alright. Now, let's see if we can get a little bit more Ike and Soren experience. We can deal 18 here. That'll knock him to 12. Can Soren then get the kill? Soren can get the kill. I might as well give Soren a little experience. I don't plan on using Soren, but since I have the incentive, I imagine at some point people will pay to force deploy Soren. And I want to be prepared for that, so I'll get him a little bit of experience. I'm an awakening Zoomer who married Donald on my first run. Interesting, interesting. My first game was 7, but my favorite OST is 4. 4 does have a pretty awesome OST. That's for sure. Stab. Get ready for 13 Laguz army in repatriation. Fate's OST is strong. I think Fate's is my favorite OST if I had to pick one. Are there any notable FE9 ROM hacks for Nintendo PC? I know there's reverse recruitment, which I did, but I believe that's the only one based in the FE9 engine. There's just a lot less tools for it than GBA, and most of what Path of Radiance, like most of the unique stuff Path of Radiance has to offer, has actually been accomplished in GBA. So if you wanted to make a hack with like Laguz or Shove or Kanto Plus or whatever, you could just do that in Game Boy, right? So the main thing would be the art style, which, you know, some people like. I think more people have nostalgia for GBA than Tellius, though, in terms of the art style. And especially, like, the slow animations and stuff. Did you know there actually was supposed to be an overlay for combat? Because, like, there's no combat forecast is, like, the annoying part of Path of Radiance. But did you know there was supposed to be? In, like, the early beta screenshots, there was a combat forecast with animations on. And that means they've removed the combat forecast. Like, why? There was a canceled fan project to remake FE9 in the GBA game. There were several FE9 remake projects that all got canceled. Whoosh. Can you get Fate-style personal skills working in a GBA? I don't know if I understand the question you're asking. Because, I mean, we've had skills in GBA for forever. Like, a personal skill would just be a skill that's attached to that unit and no one else. And, like, yeah, you can do that. Ugh, Richard Kurz. You'll regret your decision to oppose Dane. Get wrecked, loser! Dan, terrible level up, bencher. Only 3 stats. Bench worthy. Did we suffer any casualties? Any wounded or dead? No? Excellent. Well done. I don't know. Taking out these Dane soldiers might have been a bad move. Hey, Shannon. What are you doing? This swine's got some nice weapons. Besides, he ain't gonna complain. He won't need him where he's going. Shannon! Get a hold of yourself. We can't afford such behavior right now. Steal from the dead on your own time. What? You judgmental little... Soren, Shannon, stop this at once. It's no place to waste time on bickering amongst ourselves. Here's what I want to know is why did Soren have a problem with that? Like, that feels super out of character for Soren. Why would he care about Shannon looting from the dead? If anything, looting from the dead feels like the sort of thing that he would encourage. He's like the pragmatist. You do so much looting, and the one time Shannon is right about something. Yeah, not only is it like the one time Shannon is like right about something, but also it's like it's completely out of Soren's characters to not want looting. Let's clear out of here. You have to tell the commander what happened. Let's take this road. Should be able to cut through the forest and... Huh? Something wrong? No, as I said, this road... Wait, I just saw something move on the far side of that thicket. A wounded soldier, perhaps? Let's go have a look. Careful now. Oh, no. Did you find anything, Reese? It's a woman! Leave her. We shouldn't get involved in matters that don't concern us. Besides, she has cooties. That's why I only kiss men. Oh! Thank goodness. It looks like she's merely fainted. Right. We better take her with us for now. Make sure she's all right. Give me a hand, will you, Reese? Of course. I don't like this. A lot of Shannon's character boils down to the worst person you know making a good point. I don't know if I agree with that. I think Shannon very fucking rarely makes good points. I think the only good point Shannon makes that I can remember is the looting one. Which, like... I don't know. The Shannon being the worst person you know makes a good point thing. It kind of reminds me of the tweet... I hope this doesn't come off as too mean, but there's a tweet that I was like, oh my god, I identify with that so much. And it was, somebody tweeted, account named Hitler Enthusiast 7 tweets, I love the pizza. Every quote-unquote leftist you know in the replies, OMG, the worst person you know makes a good point. Where it's like... You don't gotta hand it to Reddit bro racist that he is just determined dead person doesn't need the weapon, right? Father, brother, it's that lady Ike rescued. She's awake. Really? Come on, let's greet our guest. So,
How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm fine. And you are?
My name's Grail. I'm the commander of the mercenary company.
My Lord Grail. You are the one who came to my aid, are you not? I don't know how to thank you.
Hold on. The one who found you and brought you here is my son, Ike. If you want to thank someone, thank him.
No, please, that's not... Lord Ike, was it? You have my gratitude.
Oh. Pardon my bluntness, but I have some questions for you. Tell me, who are you? What were you doing in that place? The place where Ike found you was evidently the site of a fierce battle between Crimean and Dane forces. Do you have some kind of relation to the Crimean royal family?
I make no promises, but we may be able to help you. Will you share your story with us? You took me in and cared for me. I will place my trust in you. My name is Alincia Riddell Crimea. I am the daughter of King Ramon of Crimea.
What? You say you're the Princess of Crimea?
Yes.
That's an odd claim to make. I've never heard of King Crimea having any children.
That is to be expected. My heritage, my very existence, has never been made public.
Why is that?
To avoid national turmoil. You see, I was born after my uncle, Lord Renning, was named successor to the throne, so...
They kept you a secret to avert a possible blood feud. Yeah, I'm willing to accept that for the time being. Very well. Let's suppose that you truly are Princess Crimea. You must know what's become of the king and your uncle. I would like to hear that news.
My father and my mother are dead. They fell at the hand of Ashnard, the king of Dane. My lord uncle and the royal knights are still battling the Dane army, I believe.
I see.
I fled the castle to follow my lord uncle's orders and seek refuge in the kingdom of Gallia.
Gallia?
Yes. We believed that King Kanagus would grant me sanctuary, so that's where I was going. But we were discovered by Dane troops, and I lost my escort knights. My life, the life that I have now purchased with the blood of those Wraith Knights. Does King Dane know of your existence? Yes. I was told the royals of each nation were informed of my identity in the event of dire circumstances.
If that's the case, they must be searching frantically for you.
Master Grail, my Lord Ike, you said that you were mercenaries, did you not? Please, would you help me gain Gallia? I beg of you. I have no one else to turn to.
Princess Crimea, truly.
Father spoke to her as if he believed she were telling the truth. I see. What is it, Titania? It's nothing. I was just reminiscing something from the past.
From the past?
Back when you were still Crimean Royal Knight? What? How did you know about that? A long time ago, I overheard Shannon and some others talking about it. They keep such loose tongues. Well, is that a secret? No, but... much like I have more experience than you, I also have many more things to worry about. Like Princess Crimea. Well, yes. I myself was unaware of the prince's existence, but... now that I think about it, she does bear a striking resemblance to both the king and queen. So she probably is the true princess. I wonder what father will do. Will he take on her request? We got trouble! Outside, there are soldiers! A lot of them!
What? Is everyone here?
Yes. Commander, what are the Dane dogs saying?
Turn over the Princess Crimea and leave the area immediately. Comply now or we will attack. Pretty straightforward. What are we going to do? That's what we're here to decide. One thing's made clear by the arrival of our friends outside.
So I would say that confirms her identity as Princess Crimea, wouldn't you?
Yes. What do we do now? I'd like to hear the opinion of everyone here. Titania, I'd like to hear from you first.
The blame for the war rests on Dane. If we ally ourselves with them, the company's reputation will surely suffer. Conversely, if we deliver Princess Crimea to safety, our stock will rise in the eyes of our primary employers. Our road is clear.
Soren, how about you?
There's nothing to think about. We must deliver the princess to Dane immediately. Even if Crimea is in the right, we're mercenaries. Our actions are dictated only by self-interest. If we want to ensure our future, we'll need Dane in our debt. They'll win this war, and after all, nothing serves us better.
Janan Gusri? Soren's a pompous, superior whelp, but he's got the right idea. Besides, the destination Gallia, so it's a moot question. I don't care how much we get paid. There's no way into the sun of going to stinking beast country. Princess Elincia?
She does pose a certain regal beauty.
There's a lot to be said for that, you know?
However, I do prefer country girls. A bit cuter and not quite so standoffish.
Oh, forget I said that. Whatever you decide is good for me, Commander. Yep. Oscar, Boyd, what about the two of you?
I agree with Captain Titania. If we turn the princess over to Dane army, we're essentially giving them permission to kill her. I'm in favor of helping her. That's what heroes are supposed to do. Sorry, Boyd, fighters promote to warrior in this game, so you don't get to be a hero. Well, Briss, what's your opinion? I believe that none of this hinges on whether or not she's a princess. Refusing to aid someone in need is not something we should ever do. That's what I think. That's right. Let's help her. Please, we have to help her.
And what about you, Ike?
I agree with Titania. I say we help her and take her to Gallia.
I see. I think I know where you all stand. Well, then here's my decision. We escort the princess to Gallia.
Are you sure that's for the best, Father?
Yeah. Besides, I think the choice has been taken out of our hands.
What?
Open your ears and listen. All of you.
Huh? What is it? I don't hear a thing.
Idiot. That's the problem. Don't you think that silence is a bit odd? Complete silence in all directions?
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Not only are the animals quiet, but the bugs are silent too.
That's unnatural beyond belief, which means
We're surrounded. The soldiers aren't waiting for an answer. They've already decided to attack. It would appear they had no intention of keeping their side of the proposed bargain. They were planning on lulling us into a false sense of security and destroying every one of us.
probably so. But the deal is, we're not so naive or unexperienced to fall for that trap. Everyone take your positions. We're going to settle this right now.
Boyd wishes he had the hero promotion. It would give him good speed.
I'll go ahead and hold the rear entrance. Ike, you're in command here. Don't let the enemy take the front.
Got it. Be careful, Commander.
I'll give it a shot.
Reporting in, sir. The mercenaries have taken up arms and formed in the Bailey.
Ooh, so they've sniffed out our plan, have they?
Which means they're not an opponent that will be easily fooled. We'll need something special. Shall we continue the planned attack?
No. Princess Crimea is somewhere within that fort.
If we use flaming arrows to try and smoke them out, we might bring the princess to harm.
We've been told to do our best to deliver her alive and uninjured.
It would be preferable if they were to come out of their own accord.
If they do, slay all but the princess.
Yes, sir. Alright, let's get items traded around. Oscar, you get a javelin. Riss. Give Soren the iron swords. Shannon, give Titania the hand axe. Grab one of the hand axes from Boyd. So one thing worth noting is that the here, we'll give Sora the Thief Band to try to boost his speed.
when Shannon, so Shannon and Gatri are gonna leave for 2 chapters, and they will take their inventory with them. So we want to make sure that the hammer is not on one of them, the droppable hammer. Otherwise, I think we're just good. Grail fighting an equal amount of enemies on his own map, just bashing end turn. So the cheese strategy, if you have trouble with this map, which you probably shouldn't, it's pretty easy, but the cheese strategy is to put Shannon on this throne and everyone else over here, and Shannon will never die. And that's a cheese strat. I'm gonna play it legit because it's a fairly easy map, and you can get a little bit more experience by like playing legit, but just, you know, if you're having trouble, keep that in mind. So one funny thing, can you hear the music? You probably can't. In Fog of War maps, the music volume is absurdly low. Like, it's lowered by such a ridiculous amount. It's actually kind of funny. There's only 2 Fog of War maps in the game, but it's just so funny to me that the music is just lowered for basically no reason. I guess it's because it's sneaky stealth time. But like then in this 2 maps that have stealth mechanics, the music is not lowered, so I don't understand. Also, I guess it's worth pointing out, because I think a lot of people don't know this. Fog of War, in both Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, it literally just corresponds to the time of day. If a map takes place at nighttime, it's Fog of War. If a map takes place in the daytime, it's not Fog of War. That is the only determining factor for Fog of War. Literally, it's just nighttime, daytime. So I think that's kind of funny. Chapter 14 is nighttime. Yeah, we're like ambushing them at nighttime. Isn't that the same as Thracia? I don't think so, because like, for example, 14X is a daytime map. The prison maps aren't during the nighttime. 4X, chapter 4X, the prison map, that's not a nighttime map. Isn't the Makalov map during the day? I'm pretty sure the Makalov map's at nighttime. I mean, I guess we'll find out when we get there, right? But I think Makalov's at nighttime. I know at the very least that's how it works in Radiant Dawn. But I'm pretty sure it's also how it works in Path of Radiance. Thracia is actually just dark places. I don't think that's true either, because Thracia has, the prison map, right? Like, where one of the 3 prison maps is dark, but the other 2 are light. I don't think it would be, like, that's just a dark place or whatever. Serenus Forest is a nighttime map without Fog of War. I don't think Serenus Forest takes place at night. I think the forest is just dark.
Like, I think it's just a gloomy forest because of the massacre. I'm pretty sure is the deeper parts of the dungeon. Is it? I don't know, like, the technical geography or whatever. But I thought 4X was just like... I mean, you're trying to get out, right? Wouldn't the deepest, darkest part of the dungeon be the part they start out in? Dodge Tank Boyd, Dodge Tank Boyd. Oh, he's not doubling even after we gave him the speed wing. That's so sad. I'm off to bed, nighty night. Good night. But yeah, I'm trying to think if Path of Radiance has any other... We'll find out about the Makalov map. Like, I might be wrong about Makalov. I might just be confusing it with Radiant Dawn. 4X is just a detour to rescue more prisoners. Is that ever, like, explicitly stated? I genuinely don't know. I guess that's a fair assumption to make, since you only get it if you free the other prisoners, but I kind of just thought it was, like, video game logic, right? Where there's not really an explanation for why you missed the map. You just kind of do. But maybe I'm wrong, you know? Did I remember to give him the speed wing? I thought I gave him the speed wing. Yeah, I did. Okay. Even after the speed wing, he's failing. What a champion. Lamau. Oscar, get strength, please! He has a good strength growth, right? It's like 45% or something? Yeah, 45%. He's failing it. The triangle attack will save him. Magalov Magalov map is not nighttime, it's just misty. Really? Huh. I mean, like I said, we'll find out when we get there, but I might just be conflating it with how I know that's how it works in Radiant Dawn. So I might just be conflating it, you know? Try to share a fun fact, but then accidentally do a misinformation moment. Late night stream. Yeah, I wanted to knock out the first 7 chapters in one stream, but we might not be able to do that. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning in my time zone. The misinformation is the fun in the fact. Yo, no way. Alright, get speed, please, Boyd! Boyd! Ah, he got strength, but he needs the speed. He has a need for speed.
I'm designing a Fire Emblem ROM hack, but I'm purely into designing a game portion. I haven't really gotten a chance to grasp the system. That's exciting, though. Good for you. Like, that's awesome. Do you have a general idea of like what your aim is or whatnot? What the ideas are? Like the concept for the hack or whatever. I don't really know how we would phrase it. Sorry. Light the torch. Heal up Oscar. I'm making an Awakening sequel. The present will be the future children as the main army. Interesting. So, like, the bad future or the good future? Oscar! It's after the Fell Dragon gets beaten in timeline number 2. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. That sounds pretty cool. I tossed around the idea of, like, a Radiant Dawn sequel at one point, where it was gonna be, like, far in the future, like, thousands of years later. Because Radiant Dawn ends with a sequel hook, kind of, where Ashura wakes up early. Laron is like, we gotta wake you up early. And it's like, the implication is, you know, something has happened now, right? It's not like a sequel hook, it's the idea of like, you know, violence is not solved forever, right? Like, Ashura woke up early. It's not intended to be a sequel hook, but I thought it would be cool, especially since it would be a mostly new cast if it's thousands of years in the future, right? But there would theoretically be room for, like, some people, like, there are some people who have extended lifespans. Micaiah has an extended lifespan, just as any of the branded do, right? Stefan, Soren, and then in the same way that, Laron gave Zelgius an extended lifespan, you could be like, you know, Micaiah gave Soth an extended lifespan or something, right?
What's going on? Were they supposed to be completely surrounded?
Titania's never completely surrounded. You gotta know that, Dakota. So I don't know, I think there could be some, like, interesting ideas there or something. Titania's so good, she just surrounds 17 people all by herself. I don't want to give the boss kill to Shannon, but I do need Shannon to chip. Oh, just kidding, lol. Just kidding, lol! I don't actually remember if killing the boss ends the map early. I don't think it does. Classic wrist level up, magic skill luck HP, and fucking nothing else. North Dakota down. Or I guess he's South Dakota because he's at the bottom of the map. South Dakota down. I don't believe it. What went wrong? General Dakova! No, not the general. Not in the hands of these scum. I won't allow it. Ah! Face me and breathe your last, you wretched scum! That was North Dakota's boyfriend, by the way. The Rexhara nuke will be real, trust. Yo, good level up. Never mind, we don't have to venture. Jesus Christ, he fails to one-shot. Soren, why are you lost in your books? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Doesn't even fucking double that one! Jesus Christ! Jesus Christ! Maybe there's a reason he doesn't leave his books. Yeah, the battlefield he's not suited for. Wait, you get an Iron Blade on this map? I've never gotten that fucking Iron Blade before. That's so funny. Yo, the Speedwing investment paying off, boy, doubling! There we go. Unfathomably rare Boyd W. I don't think it's as rare as you would say, but like Boyd does have issues that his gassers love to ignore. Can Titania set up a kill, or does she just fucking murder? She just fucking murders this person. Alright, Shannon, I need you to not crit. The fucking 15 crit bonus is just so... Thank you, thank you, thank you. There we go. Perfect. Oscar Experience! The Oscar Experiencia.
Stab. 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 General Dakova's gone. We're beaten. We don't stand a chance. Retreat! Quickly now, retreat!
We've cleared the surrounding area of Dane's troops. There's no question about it. We're enemies of the Dane Kingdom now, aren't we?
We've no time for rest. Everyone pack your things now. We leave at once, before the enemy brings reinforcements.
Understood. Boyd, come with me. Right behind you, brother. We gotta hurry too. Come on, Rolf. We gotta pack as much food and supplies as we can. Whatever you say. Let's go, Mist.
Titania, take Shannon and Godfrey and make sure we have a secure road from here to the Great Forest. We'll make our way to Gallia through the Sea of Trees.
On my way, sir.
Riss, you stay with me. I want you to help me pull essential documents from the library. Everything else we burn.
Yes, sir.
Ike, you're in charge of the princess.
All right. Princess Alencia, I'm going to ready a horse for you. What should we have you do? I know. Go to the mess hall. I'm sorry? Time will go by faster if you're helping. If time will go by faster if you're helping Mist, than it will if you're just sitting around waiting for me. Oh, I understand. I can do that. Sorry, this is kind of awkward, making a princess help with packing. Please don't worry, Mist. I hope that I don't end up slowing you down by getting in your way. Don't be silly. You're so much better at this than I am. It's a big help. Are all princesses as good at this sort of thing as you are? I wasn't raised at court, so my life was a bit different than other princesses. I cooked, cleaned, sewed. Why, I did all manner of things. Really? That's surprising. I would never have guessed that by looking at you. Let's see. I also rode horses, practiced sword fighting. Oh. Mist, what's that thing around your neck? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I guess I can show it to you, Princess Alencia. Oh, it's a lovely... That's an incredible medallion, isn't it? I wonder what that light is. It used to belong to my mother. It's, all I have to remember her by. I don't know where the light comes from. It didn't used to be like that. A while back it just started glowing. The world is full of mysteries, isn't it? One thing is clear, though. It certainly is beautiful. I wonder what that light means. Wow, this emblem is kind of fiery. What? What did you just say? I think I must be hearing things. I thought you said they got away. It appears that treating them as ordinary mercenaries was a mistake. They're strong enough to defeat General Dakova. We rank and file were overmatched from the beginning. So, you tucked your worthless tail and came running back here, is it? Have you forgotten the Dane Army's motto? Success or failure, life or death. Hey you, get this trash out of here.
Yes, ma'am. Move it, you.
No, please, I don't want to die. Dog's breath. I'm surrounded by worthless imbeciles. Anna! Tell me, which way should we move to catch these mercenaries and the girl? The Crimean capital, Melior, is already under King Ashnard's control. The remnants of Crimean army are negligible, which means the only place left for the princess to turn is south, to the kingdom of Gallia. Ha! So the girl, like her dead father before her, seeks the friendship of those hairy devils, eh? What an absolutely stupefying world we live in. If she gains sanctuary in Gallia, capturing the princess will become much more difficult. The mercenaries she is escorting her are a powerful group, not one to be taken lightly. I will gather intelligence on them as quickly as not necessary. I'll head up the pursuit on our wandering princess. General Bertrine, you will go yourself? We know where the princess and her band are headed. There's no need for subtlety. I'll just hunt them down and kill them. Mercenaries? Ha! What are they to me? Remember, I'm General Petrine. No matter who I face, I have never failed, nor will I ever. Ha 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 ha! Bros named Ashnard. More like Ash Nerd, am I right, gamers? Petrine has a pretty good plan. I hope she doesn't get distracted.
I think it's probably time to call it. It's like 2 in the morning. I wanted to do like the whole prologue, which I consider the first 7 chapters to be like the prologue. Kind of, they teach you the basics of the game. But, I don't know, I kind of want to start winding down for bed. So, we'll do this again later. I'll probably do Thracia next. Yeah. Good night, everyone.